Alright, so in this video, I'm going to be making a Camille mid lane matchup guide, ranking all of her matchups. So, first of all, I want to give credit where credit's due. I got this inspiration from Azop's video on Vel'Koz. He makes a tier list for Vel'Koz, all the matchups, so I'm basically stealing his idea, but I'm going to add my own twist. I'm going to make it my own special. Like, I'm not going to do everything he does. So, there are some things that I want to go over before I get into each matchup, some general advice. You should not be doing the same thing every time into a lane. So always take what I'm saying uh, with the context that it's generalized and that like maybe you can push in a wave against an Evelyn early because you don't have to fear her gank, but against a Xin or a Jarvan, you have to worry about their level 2. So with that being said, gotta critically think, use your brain. A lot of people that I coach and that I've worked with or that I've seen aren't necessarily bad at the game. They just don't critically think in the game or outside the game. So try to apply my information depending on what you think is best, depending on the context and the factors going on in the game, what your jungler is doing, their pathing and stuff. But thanks to Azop stealing his idea. So another thing I want to say is that I'm going to be making in-depth videos on each matchup. So for example, my last video, I made a really in-depth guide on wave management against a really good lane like Kassadin. So the Kassadin matchup is fully explained. So anytime I feel like I can do that out of a game, if I'm against a really good player on a certain champ that's known for that champ, I'll probably make a video on that. But until then, this video guide will suffice. This is like my most commonly asked question: what I do into this champ. So hopefully this should answer that. I'm gonna just, as I said, give as much general advice as I possibly can, and you'll see what matchups are really good, what matchups are really bad, and how to handle them. So let's get started. Another thing is I'm gonna put every champ that can mid, even pseudo mids like Renekton, any champs that have historically played mid, I'll include. I'm not going to put stuff like Thresher or whatever because there's just no point. So, first matchup, we have Akali. So, before I actually start ranking the champs, I'll just get into what each tier means. This is just the best tier possible. You have a really free lane, you have no excuse to lose. You should just be able to fully 1v9 the game. S tier is a really, really good matchup. Maybe a little bit of counterplays offered to the enemy. They're not just completely screwed. They can still get compensation through something. A tier, you have a very, very strong edge over the champ. Or maybe a watered down edge.
I didn't quite catch that.
Siri, I was not talking to you. I think Siri got a little jealous there. That was kind of random. What the heck? I guess I'll just turn off my phone so that doesn't happen again. I think she heard S tier, so she got excited. Anyway, so that kind of okay. So I was explaining what each tier list does. Okay, so B tier is average neutral matchup. It's gonna be a farm lane or not one side, it's just neutral, just average. You guys are both just gonna farm it out. It's nothing's gonna happen. Not gonna be too exciting. C tier, you have a slight disadvantage, probably because they outrange you or poke you or whatever. D tier, pretty bad matchup. It's really losing, but it's you maybe there's a little bit of compensation for you, and then E tier is gonna be horrible. You should just literally dodge, permaban these champs. You have no chance at playing the game. It's gonna be horrible and disgusting. And you'll see what I mean. I'll explain my reasoning for each champion. So now I got all the general advice. I'm going to also timestamp each champ. So if you want to go back, you can take a look and hear what I have to say about each champ. Okay. So the first champ, Akali. We're going to put her in D tier because... So Akali, when she was first released, her rework, she was probably the best champ in the game ever existed. We're talking just the most broken, no counterplay, and people didn't even know how to play her. That's the thing. on release, people didn't know all of her mechanics, all of her animation. Like, she was still super broken. She just got hit by nerf after nerf after nerf, and she still continues to be able to play in this meta because of just how innately strong her kit is. She has so much mobility, a lot of sustain, so much single target. It's like crazy how much damage she does. Even when she's behind and stuff, like, she's super slippery. I'd say that she's like, if she's really strong, she's one of the worst matchups for Camille. But right now we're seeing her at her all-time weakest. She's kind of made a recovery because the people that are really good at Kayle are still really good at Kayle and they can pilot her. But that's why another reason. I think a really good at Kayle is probably borderline E tier. But it's hard to say. I mean, you can max, like, against a Kayle, you're just going to want to max W because you can not really ever engage with E against a Kayle. A lot of what I'm going to explain about these matchups is very logical in the sense that you can simulate the matchup in your head and arrive to the same conclusion. So what does that mean? What does it mean when I simulate a matchup? You don't have to actually play out the matchup to think about what they're going to do. Put yourself in their shoes. If I just E at a Kayle, she's going to stand there and try to Q. No. She's going to immediately E me because my Q is projected. And I'm sorry, I'm a little tired. My E is projected, right? If I try to E at her, she's not going to stand there. She's going to E at me. I'm not going to hit her. Her E's going to hit me. She's going to get her passive stack and just combo me out, right? So you can't really ever use an E onto her until she doesn't have her Shroud. You can't get into melee range because she can just E or Q you. She can stealth when you ult her. It's very hard to set up for ganks. She is really weak when she doesn't have her Shroud. That's her one time that you can punish her. She's the most vulnerable when she has no Shroud, so you have to make sure that you can go in when she wastes it. But most good at Kayle players won't just use it for no reason. So I think if the champ is played really well, and that's another thing, like, a lot of people don't know how to play the champ, so if you're against a bad Kayle, she's easy to punish, but like, some champs are just so good that you could be a plat level and still like win on it. Akali is definitely not one of them. You have to like really know what you're doing to play her. So I'm gonna put her in detail. Like, you can, like, the only time you can kill her is like solos when she shrouds, or maybe you can roust her with W. And like I said, if she's bad at her champ, she'll just not know what to do. But yeah, that's why you should max W for the utility for the slow. Could possibly lead to a kill, because if you can W, quickly E her and then alter, wait out the stealth, maybe your jungler can do something. But like, mainly the way that you punish Akali is when she has no energy or when she's on cooldown. So, but yeah, just keep in mind that it's a really bad matchup. You should like be pretty worried. You have to be really careful against her, because she can just kill you super easily, because she can keep up with your mobility with her dashes. So I think that the best way to play into her, yeah, just max W, E second, rush Vamp Scepter into Hydra, which is typically what you're going to do. You need to get a Maw if you fall behind, but I think you should be fine if you just get a Vamp Scepter, because you can keep up with her poke. And just look to roam against her. Most of the time when you have a bad matchup, you should just be looking to roam. Because like, there's no point in trying to play for solo kills if she can just, like, obviously we have to also understand that matchups, most of the time, if you're in a low elo, right, you're not going to be losing the lane because of the matchup. You're going to be losing the lane because of fundamentals. So just because you're in a bad matchup doesn't mean you ought to lose. It just means that you're at an innate disadvantage, but you still should be able to punish her if she does make fundamental errors. So yeah, that's, some champs are going to be exceptions like Heimerdinger, but we'll get to that later. So next champion, Anivia. Anivia is probably going to be like C, borderline D tier. So my gripe with Anivia is how broken her passive is. Like, she just literally gets a free GA every few minutes. It's pretty insane. I mean, it's like a worse version of GA, but the thing about Camille is that when you go in and you pop Anivia's passive, it's like you're using all your burst to get her passive, and Camille doesn't have much follow-up after she uses her initial burst. So you can kill her 100-0 pretty easily, but then you're left with her egg. You won't be able to kill her egg in time, and then she can just turn around and kill you if you haven't already left. It's also pretty stupid how you can win a trade. You can be winning trades, right? And then you can pop her egg. You can't follow up after you pop her egg. She just gets to full health, and like she basically just gets a free like 500 health or whatever. Even if you do catch her off, like she can miss position, she can totally mess up, and it will benefit her if you pop the egg sometimes, which is like pretty disgusting in my opinion. But like that, for that reason alone, it's like really hard to deal with her because she already has her W and her ult to zone you pretty well. Your ult actually cancels her ult because it's considered a channel, which is pretty interesting. So you should just keep that in mind. That's another thing I think will be really helpful. I'm going to be timestamping the video, so if you want to go back to each matchup to learn special interactions between the champs, because there are some things that will like you need to know if you can buffer abilities or like do certain things, right? So I'd say yeah, she's like probably D tier, C tier material because you can still outroam her. You can still set up for ganks really easily, which is another thing. Like, so that's why I think she's probably C tier. You can use her wall as a way to engage as well, which is kind of interesting as well. Any generated terrain, Talia, Trundle, Jarven, you can always use their terrain to E. But it's like just really bad because like you can still win trades against her, so you should go Vamp and like Hydra and just try to sustain her poke. But as I said, she has her Q for your E, she can just revive herself, it's pretty lame. Next champ we have Annie. So Annie's just another really easily gankable target, and it's like kind of hard to set up ganks for Annie when she has her stun because you just like she can just stun you off of your E, so you kind of have to like be willing to eat the stun and like survive her full combo. So you have to make sure you're always high HP or you have MR. The most effective way to negate Annie burst is Maw. She can like one shot you if you like die to her early once, she'll like just have enough damage to one shot you. So you have to make sure you buy MR, or you have to always be full HP before engaging. If she can get Tibbers on you and you can't get Tibbers off of you, that Tibbers will be enough to just kill you because it's like insane. It will stay on you, gives her enough DPS. She can just keep queuing you and stuff. So especially with the change with her movement speed, it's like she can stun you, E away, deal a bunch of damage. You have to just also in lane when she has stun up, you have to make sure that you're watching when she's gonna stun you, because if you buffer your E properly, you can get out of her stun. But if you like use it improperly, then she will stun you. So just make sure that you're not in flash Q range whenever there's a jungler nearby or potentially, because then she can just kill you for free, get the stun, and then you'll get comboed out. But other than that, she's still squishy. You still like you outscale her pretty hard. As long as you finish Maw, you'll be able to 1v1 her no problem, as long as you don't fall behind. So I think she's B tier because you lose to her early, but then you eventually outscale her. But she has a lot of pressure with her stuns. But because she's a short range champ, she can't actually pressure you that much if you have a ganking jungler, which is another thing to consider. Like some of these matchups might be bad if they weren't so easily gankable, so keep that in mind. Next matchup, Aurelion Sol. He's like S2. Aurelion Sol is so bad. I feel so bad for anyone that mains this champ. Like, unless you're a god at this character and you have really perfect movement, he's just such a bad champion. He does no damage. Like, he's just a worse version of most mid laners. He definitely needs a buff or some sort of compensation because the champ is so god awful. You just can do anything you want against him. He's so easily abusable. He does have his Q, but it like stuns for no duration at all. You can dodge his ult with your ult. His stars are easily like Camille wants to stay melee range anyway, so you can just walk into his stars, hit your W to slow him. He can't really do anything. Has no way off of you. Like it's just a really free matchup. You can lead with W, Ian, auto Q, R, ignite, flash the R, auto Q, he's dead. You can also just like look to quickly E him because even if he does stun you, your E will like still stun him and you'll get your attack speed. So like it's still really free because just the champ is so bad. You can anytime he just walks into you, you kill him. He doesn't have a way of like hard peeling you. His ult is super projected, so. The opposite of Ruling Soul, we have Azir. Azir is like definitely E tier. He's probably one of the best counters to Camille, if not the best counter to Camille. He has Harass from a long range. You can't ever get into range to W him because he'll just poke you. If you try to E onto him, he'll dash away. If you try to E on him, he can either dash or ult you away. If you try to set up for a gank, he has a dash and a huge dash, a huge knockback that hits multiple targets if he can't already turn on you. He has a slow as well, so like he's just like the perfect counter to Camille. He just has enough ways to kite her. So I literally just dodge every time I see Azir. I dodge unless I have teammates with a good matchup, because then I'll just play around them and I'll just spam gank them. And Azir can't do anything because he kind of needs items to scale up and like actually carry fights, but he's literally going to be able to zone you from all your CS. You're going to be so farm starved that you have to just play around your team. This is like a lane where you're going to be wanting to go press the attack and just look to roam around the map. Like, it's all you can really do, honestly, against this champ. He's just so good into Camille. Direct counter. I would just completely advise dodging the champ. Next champ, we have Brand. Brand is kind of like Annie, but I think he's a lot easier to beat because his Q requires setup. So pre-6, you shouldn't ever look to go in on him. He's just going to try to poke you down with W. And he has a lot of damage. Brand has so much damage. The champ just has so much base damage. So you definitely need to get some MR against him at one point. But once you get Maw, it's just like Annie. You can just outscale him. Like, he can't match your side lane split push. If you find him in the jungle, you can one-shot him. He's very, very squishy. I'd say that you have to be very careful Q6 because you can do like half your health with one combo. But he's very susceptible to ganks. If your jungler's smart, he'll camp Brand because Brand's number one weakness. Oh, I just got a follow offline. Weird. I got so far 2 interruptions. I got a follow. Thank you. From Eduardo. Appreciate the offline follow, and Siri's trying to butt in. But anyway, yeah, Brand is like really cancer. Or like, oh no, I'm sorry, I'm like distracted. I have to sneeze too. Jesus. It went away. Brand is not that cancer. The only thing cancer about him is his damage, his ult combo. Like, if he can ult someone and it bounces back and forth, he basically guarantees kill you, but as long as you have MR, like I said, he can't one-shot you. But he's very similar to Annie, but like a worse version of Annie in the sense that he doesn't have a guaranteed stun, because you can dodge the stun with your ult, or if you can flash it. He has to also set it up too, he can't just use it. So yeah, I'd say that it's a really good matchup actually, because I think even early you can, if you put like 3 points to W early, you should just be able to, if you can dodge his W and hit your W, then he'll be low enough to where you can Ian and like even if you lose trades, you still do more damage to him than he does to you. Like, you can just burst him really quickly before he can burst you, if that makes sense. So like, if you guys are both 30% HP, you can just Ian, flash on him, E flash, auto QQ, he'll flash away, and then you hit him with W, and because you have most of your points in that, it will do a lot of damage, and you'll kill him with Ignite and stuff. So just watch the stun. Can't just let him hit W for free. You have to like do your best to dodge it when he goes for CS, try to hit your W. Next matchup will be Cassiopeia. Cassiopeia belongs in E tier 2. I think I just permaban Cassiopeia. She's like I literally just ban her every single game, no matter what, unless someone on my team wants to play her, because I think that she's pretty overtuned right now, and it's really hard to set up for ganks for her because she can turn so easily. She can ult your E, she can ult your, like, she can't ult your R, but like, you're a melee character, so you're going to be naturally running into her. Now, you can always dodge Cassiopeia ult if you pay attention to her, because there's enough visual time to actually get around it. So she like has a lot of sustain with her Q, so you can't harass her with W, because you would think that the champ is all about DPS. So if you just walk up W, walk away by maxing it, you should win, but it's not the case. She'll just Q you, hit you with E and stuff. She's super slippery. She has the W, which counters your ult pretty well. You can, or I'm not sure if I misspoke and I said she'll just Q you and EU is what I meant to say. I don't know if I said it the first time. But her W will stop you from Eing, will stop you from ulting. You can actually E through the W, if that makes sense. So like, let's say this is important to know, because you can outplay Cassiopeia's if you do this properly. If she presses her W like this, right, and there's a wall here, and you E, I'll make this even easier to see. If you E going this way through the poison, you can get onto the wall and still use the second part of your E. It doesn't stop the traveling. It won't interrupt your traveling. But what you can't do is you can't E obviously while you're in it. And if you E onto this part of the wall when you're still in the poison, you won't be able to second E. You'll just be sitting there on the wall. So you have to make sure that you E through it. But yeah, the champ is just like pretty busted, as I said. Like, if there was a tier in between D and E, I'd put her in the middle because she's like slightly less cancer than Azir in the sense that you can gank her, but she still can deny you a bunch of CS, and still pretty hard to ever do anything against her. Like, if you have a ganking jungler early, then yeah, it's gonna be a matchup. So maybe I'll put her D tier in the sense that, you know, if you do have a ganking jungler like an Elise or something, then it's pretty free because she at the end of the day, she is a control mage. You can still capitalize on her, but in a pure 1v1 she'd be E tier. But yeah, so because of junglers, D tier. Next champion we have Cho'gath. So I'm surprised this isn't in alphabetical order, but I guess not, whatever. So Cho'gath is gonna be like S tier. He is super immobile, so any jungler that knows what they're doing is going to just sit mid lane. Like, you would think that junglers would realize how easy of a gank it is for Camille, but a lot of people still don't camp me. I don't know why. It's like, even if you're on a good winning account, not every jungler will play around you. It blows my mind. It's like the easiest way, especially if you're playing Lucian or Irelia or whatever, you just get a freeze on Camille and there's nothing the enemy can do because you have so much single target, you have so much burst. Even if their jungler tries to counter gank, it still should be free kill. You can buffer your E through his silence, through his Q. You can just take a couple points in W early. Actually, I wouldn't even do that. I just max Q right away because like Cho'gath can just sustain so much. He has so much sustain, so you have to only make sure that you hard all in. You can't just like try to poke him. He'll win the poke fight every single time. So you have to like, a lot of his cooldowns and animations make him really clunky because he's super slow. So what you have to do is you have to always try to catch him off guard or try to like E him when he's close to a wall, so that way you can insta E before he can get an ability off. He can also buffer his abilities through your abilities, so if you E onto him, he can Q while getting stunned, and then you're going to get knocked up and comboed out. So as long as you can hit your E before he can Q or silence you, you should always win that, because you'll hit your E, and then you can dodge his Q with your ult or dodge his silent with your ult, or you can sidestep his Q and then like do some sort of combination. You can dodge his abilities very easily as long as you're not caught in E animation frames. So you just outscale him super hard too. If you don't win early, you'll win late game for sure, as long as you don't fall behind super hard. Even if he goes AP, you just have to get Maw and then just dodge his abilities. Like I said, the longer the game goes, the more movement speed you have, the harder it is for him to actually hit abilities. So you should just like try to insta E and stuff. Try to hit your Q because you get a lot of movement speed when you Q, and then just kite around his abilities. Just have to make sure you don't get hit because he can deal all your health if you gets caught out, but like it's really hard for him to catch you. You're just too fast, too quick for him, too much mobility. And like I said, it's like super easy for you to gank him with junglers and stuff. I will say that he does have a probably slightly stronger early game. Like I said, he has so much sustain, but you just like can, if as long as you get one trade on him. Like another thing that Camille has going for her against basically every matchup is that she has like so much more damage in a short amount of time than most of her enemies. Like she can just E onto someone, get them stunned, auto QQ, and then hit W, and that's an ignite, and that's like basically half their health. If you go Conqueror, Triumph, Alacrity, Coup de Grace, double adaptive, it's like so much damage. And Tiamat as well. If you proc Tiamat, it's gonna deal so much damage to them. So But yeah, that's like how you play against Cho'gath. Ahri is going to be B tier. She's basically impossible to kill if she's good enough at the game, because if you try to E onto her, she's just going to E your E. And then when you're charmed, you actually can't like re-engage onto her. Even if you can hit your E, like she'll have 3 ults remaining. So it's pretty like the only time you can ever kill her is when she's on cooldown or when you have a jungler. If you can E onto her and flash onto her and then ult her, then she's a free kill. But even then, like most Ahris will be smart, and as soon as they see you E, they're just gonna ult away. Or like maybe they'll, like as I said, if you can catch them off guard, it'll be a free kill. But the better the Ahri is, the more likely they'll expect the gank, and they just won't fall for it. So you can maybe catch her off guard, but other than that, it's like pretty hard. But another thing you can do against Ahri and other champs with a line stun, like so, like Syndra has a line stun, Ahri has a line stun, right? What you can do is, let's get back to the drawing board. Let's say there's a wall here, right? And this is Ahri, and this is Camille. And Camille E's onto the wall and then tries to E at Ahri. Okay? She'll see you E onto the wall, and then when you're right here, instead of taking the E this way, as she expects, what you can do is you can E and then flash here and E like this, or flash here and E like this. And it will catch her off guard because she'll expect the E coming this way. So that's like the only way you can just get around her stun for sure, and that's what you should do if you know she's on cooldown, if she can't get around you. Because once she uses her stun, then you can just alter, and like a good Ahri will also be able to kite you in your ult as well. Just remember that, like even if you can get her ulted, she can like E to the side and then E to the other side and stuff, and dodge a lot of your damage. So if you have a jungler, it should be a free kill though, because if you have like a Vi or something, or at least then you can combo her out. She's still super squishy, still a control mage, but you should take a few points early into her to keep up with her RAS, because your trades are pretty neutral as long as you can hit your W when she goes for minions and stuff. She'll probably be able to slightly out harass you, but you make up for it with your pressure, because if it plays up way farther than she should, it's a free gank for you. Just always remember that, like anytime the champ has no mobility, it's going to be a free gank. Next champ is Aatrox. So Aatrox used to be a mid laner when Smite was prevalent, because that was when he was at his strongest before they nerfed him. Right now, he's making a comeback top lane. People are playing him more and more. He never really died off in the meta, but after the nerf hit him, he was like, people kind of just disregarded him, and then they added him back to the meta. But he doesn't really play mid lane because he suffers with range issues. Doesn't have that much damage either. So I'd say that he's S tier as well. He's basically a reskin of Cho'gath, or like the same thing as Cho'gath, where he has a lot of sustain. He has very slow and clunky abilities that can buffer through your abilities, but you know, as long as you don't let his E cancel your Q, or I'm sorry, as long as you don't let your Q cancel, as long as you don't let his Q cancel your E, you should be good to go, because you just deal so much burst to him with Ignite and stuff. You have to make sure that you have Tiamat, like you can just burst him basically from full health if you're winning. If you're not, then you can just go in, deal half his health, and then, like I said, if you're at 40%, he's at 50%, you'll be able to do more damage than he can to you. Make sure that you also have Ignite up. If you go in without Ignite, you're basically going to lose that every time. Try to fight when he has no cooldowns. Try to always fight when he doesn't have his passive up. You can click on him to see when he gets his passive. Every time he uses an ability, it reduces his passive cooldown. So just keep that in mind. You also see the animation of when he stabs a minion, he has the sword in 2 hands, and then he kind of shoves it into a minion. So just play around that, and you should be good to go. You can hit him with your W. You should be able to always dodge his first. You should always be able to dodge his first Q. You can ult the second Q and flash the third Q if you really need to. So you can get rid of his Q completely, and then he just has to auto attack you to death. Or you can like maybe E first, and then like as you E, you can just dodge the first Q because he's like your melee range of him. So you have to get rid of the first Q animation. And then the second Q you can ult, like I said. Third Q you can flash if you really have to. But you just have like, you just need to max Q, then E. Put maybe a few points in W early if you need to, if you don't have jungle pressure. But like if he just plays up, he has no mobility other than his E, so it's a pretty free gank. But you're going to be rushing Tiamat. Like most matchups, you just assume that you're rushing Vamp Scepter / Tiamat into Hydra, or you're gonna, like, you can get a Sheen early too. So like the build, I'm gonna go over separately in another video, but generally you're gonna want to go Sheen. If you have like Vamp Scepter is priority if you need the sustain. Tiamat is good if you want to roam, if you have an advantage early for extra burst. And you can get a Sheen when the gold is good because it gives mana and CDR, which is pretty good, and extra burst. You can get Hydra and then like Sheen second item after. You can get Tiamat and then Sheen after for like the most amount of burst possible. But like that's like ideal into Aatrox because you just need a burst before you can sustain all your damage back. Then we have Corki. Corki is going to be S tier as well. He's a ADC that has no stuns, so he does have his W, but you should be able to win trades by hitting your W and then Eing in. As long as you can insta-E before you can react to it, you should be able to be fine, because even if he can react to it with his W, as long as you're close to the wall and he's close to the wall, if you can cancel his W, he's 100% dead. Even if he buffers it through you, like he still stuns, so you can catch up. And you can just hit a W. Like you should put a couple points into W early just for the extra harass. And then level 6, you guarantee kill him. Like level 6, you can just 100-0 him no matter what. Like you should always just be able to E in, flash if you have to, and then just use all your spells, Tiamat, and he's just 100% dead. Like as long as he's 75% health or lower, he should just always die. You just have to make sure you watch out for the passive when you roam, so that way he can't counter gank with his passive. Like when he has his passive, you have to spam ping the fuck out of him whenever he leaves lane. Just never let him like roam for free. Diana, it's gonna be A tier because she's not exactly like Cho'gath or Aatrox, because she has a way to harass you with her Q. But once you get Vamp Scepter, you nullify all of her pokes. She can literally just hit Q every 7 seconds, and then you just heal it all back up with Vamp, and then that's all she can do. And then you can hit W on her and do a small combo with E. And you just make sure you do that when she doesn't have Q. Like she'll harass you with Q, you wait for the mark to expire, then you E onto her, you do a short trade, you win the trade, you back off before she gets Q up, and then you heal it all back from the minions. But before Vamp Scepter, she I think she's probably even like in the middle of S tier and A tier, because she's not as free as these champs, so I don't want to put her there. But like she's like slightly easier than Brand. I'd say she's on the same difficulty as Brand. Like you can set up for ganks really easily on her because she's a melee champ, so she's going to be up super far. She doesn't have much escape. You can just ult when she tries to ult you. You have to make sure that you ult her ult. You have to time it perfectly. Otherwise, you don't have to time it perfectly. We have to time it really well. Otherwise, you'll just take a bunch of damage. Her most amount of damage is through her ult. Or you can try to ult her Q if you know when it's going to come, but it's like hard to do because it comes out pretty quickly. So if you are confident in doing that, then that's probably fine, because you can get rid of her WE reset and it's like a lot of her damage, but you should just like kind of save it for her ult. But when you go longsword 3 against her, there's just like another thing that you're going to be doing against all these champs: Conqueror, Triumph, Alacrity, Coup de Grace, 5%, and Biscuits. You get longsword 3. Like that's basically never going to change in all these matchups. But as I said, I'll do like more in depth on each matchup when I make a video on them, and like I'll probably do a build for her, a build guide. But that, just keep it in mind, that's what you're going to be taking into all these matchups. So you're going to like have more sustain than she does, and that's going to let you like take more aggressive trades, bully her. Even if you are losing the trades slightly, you still have more burst than she does. You can snowball so easily when you're in a lead because she has no like way against like escaping you. So like I said, you set up for ganks really well. Your ult does so well into her ult and into the champion in general, because you can just keep her away from your allies and just trap her for your jungler to gank. So, but yeah, her early Q harass is pretty annoying. That's like, she's still pretty free. Next champ, I could include like Darius or Draven or something. I think I'll probably include Darius. Why not? Because a lot of people might try to swap lanes, which is another thing. Like something that will happen is you'll pick Camille, they'll try to counterpick you with someone like Darius, and then they'll want to swap because they want to like maybe they took armor into you expecting you top lane, but then your Rise was actually the top laner and they were fooled. So they don't want to have bad runes, so they'll switch, and you'll have to face it. So Darius is like a pretty strong counter to Camille if you mess up once against Darius, you're just insta dead. Like it's pretty ridiculous how much damage the champ does. I'd say because the lane is shorter mid lane, it's a lot easier to move against Darius because you have room to disengage. His main reason why he counters Camille is because he can just run her down really easily top lane. So I'd say that Darius is definitely, you're still winning against him just because of jungle pressure. Like any jungler can gank him pretty easily when you have ult and you can just burst him. He's like really squishy if you just like can full combo him. But like another problem with Darius is that his EQ combo is true. So what I mean by true combo is like you can't escape from it, if that makes sense. Like certain combos you can, do certain things against, like, Katarina's like EQ-W combos, not a true combos, you can flash, you can ult it. But as long as Darius hits the E, he can hit his Q 100% of the time, which is his most amount of damage, gives him a huge amount of healing, set up for his ult, so that's like the only scary thing. He can also E when you E to cancel your E, but as long as you don't lose him early, like, he'll probably be taking Ghost. If he takes Ignite, the matchup's free for you. I think Ghost is like the hardest to like fight against, but put a few points in W to harass him. Actually, yeah, you can put a few points in W early, 2 or 3, and then just max Q after, and just play around your jungler. Draven mid is like a thing, I guess. I've played against it every, once in a while, and he's definitely S tier. He's just squishy ADCs like Corki. He has only one disengage tool. You have to just play around his E, so as long as you don't get hit by that. Draven's actually probably, I don't know if it's like, he has so much damage and his E actually kind of counters your engage, but he's still really squishy. So I think like, I'm going to put him in B tier because it depends on your jungler. If your jungler is smart and just camps him, like, he can't do anything. If he falls behind, he's worthless for the entire game, so he's just a useless ADC. But if he has jungle pressure and you can't ever go in, then it's going to be pretty annoying playing against him because he can just cancel your E and stuff, so that's pretty annoying for you. He has a lot of damage. He can fight you to the death pretty easily. But yeah, like I said, it's depending on junglers. If the jungle diff is in your favor, it's like super free. If it's not, then it's pretty hard. Then we got Ekko. Ekko is slightly losing because I think the champ is just naturally stronger because of how strong like his ult is. He has AoE. He has faster wave clear than you. One of Camille's weaknesses is her slow wave clear, so you can get perma-prio pretty quickly. You definitely need to rush Ravenous Hydra to sustain his poke. That's all you need to do is just sustain his poke. But yeah, he's like really strong. If he gets ahead, so you have to make sure you don't let him snowball off of you. It's a pretty neutral matchup, honestly. I think he just has a very, very slight lead. It's not as bad as Anivia or the other matchups below, but it's like really, really hard to kill Ekko ever, since his mobility and W and ult and Zanya's gives him insane amount of kite power. I will say this though, like, it's hard to kill him mid game. So like it's easy to kill Ekko up until 6 with your jungler. So like when he gets 6, the ability to kill him just drops, and like you can never really kill him ever. But then as the game goes on, you'll eventually be able to get to the point where you can just E into him, ult him right away, ult him right off the bat, so that if he ults your ult, then he's trolling and you just kill him. So you ult him right away, right? And then you just hit him with your second Q. He's forced to ult because that will put him down to like less than half health. And then you just have to sidestep his W, re-engage with your E. As long as you have enough CDR and some MR, you should have no problem with killing him. He's like, even when he's super far ahead, you can still kill him. Like, even when you're really far behind and he's ahead, you still should be able to fight him, just because of the line that I just said, you can just ult him right away. As long as you can hit your E. If you miss your E and ult him, you'll probably like lose if you're behind. But if you're even, you can do that and still beat him. But just because, like I said, you have to ult him early, like ignite him as well to reduce some of his healing when he ults. When he tries to W you, you have to sidestep it, and then you just have to hit your second Q like 2 or 3 times, and he should die. Can't do enough burst to you to kill you because your passive shield blocks a lot of his burst. He's burst oriented like you, so. Next champ would be Ezreal. Ezreal mid is like kind of another troll pick, but it's super easy. It's like one of the easiest matchups. It's just like Corki. It's exactly like Corki. So take everything what I said about Corki and apply it to Ezreal. That's also what I'm gonna do. Like whenever I feel like there's gonna be a matchup that is just so easy that you should, it's gonna follow the same logic, or not necessarily easy, but if it's gonna follow the same logic, you're gonna play the lane the same way you would Corki. Put a few points in W. He has like some harass, maybe outranges Corki a little bit more, but like it's basically the same thing as Corki. So just go to the Corki timestamp because he's another squishy scaling 80 caster that has some poke, but you can ultimately just one shot pre-6 and level 6 100% you can one shot no matter what. Like there's no way he can just escape you. You just deal so much damage to him, you just can't do anything to you. Fiora is gonna be like neutral. Top lane, it's definitely a counter pick, but mid lane it's neutral because the lane is shorter. So just like with Darius, she can't run you down as easily, and you can set up ganks a lot easier against Fiora because Fiora naturally has to play up more to harass Camille, and she has to avoid ganks from all sides. So it's like really annoying for Fiora if there's level 6 junglers there because Fiora's like pretty weak when she doesn't have her items. So something you can do against Fiora is you can E into her intentionally, make it obvious that you're Eing, she'll W you, and then you can just ult when she Ws. You get your attack speed, you waste her W, and then you get your ult off for free. And you get your attack speed, which is like the most important thing, even though you don't stun her. You like get the attack speed, and then you have her ulted, and it's a free kill if you ignite. So she wants to play aggressively against you, she can't, because you can just go Vamp Scepter. If she plays up, your jungler's there to kill her. I will say this though, she is pretty strong into you if you make a mistake, because if you like E when you can't, she'll stun you and then she'll kill you off of that. So make sure you don't, like, the only way you die to her is if you make your stun really projected. So you have to make sure that you don't like make it obvious when you're going to stun. I'd put a few points into I just max Q against Fiora because problem with putting points into W is that she can just Q when you W. So a few points Q. You shouldn't try to second Q her when she has her W up either, because then it's a free W for her. You just have to like double Q her every time. Otherwise, when you do the Q animation, she'll see it and then W it. So Fizz, we have S tier for sure. I'd say Fizz is S tier, even though like once again he'd belong in a like he's not as hard as these matchups, but he's definitely like, or he's not like as free as these lanes. Say he's in the middle of these two because he's slightly freer than these three. Like the thing about Fizz is he's hard if you don't know how to play Camille, but if you know how to play Camille, then he's really easy. So what you need to do against him is you need to enable attack champs only key, and you need to make that a toggle. So for some reason you cannot make it a toggle on the client. You have to actually go in game. There's a hidden setting that will appear right here in game that will say make target champion only key a toggle. If you don't know what this key is, abilities and sums, I have it bound to A. So what it does is you press it, and because you have it enabled as a toggle, your cursor will light up, and then you can never click anything other than champions. Super useful to use, because then your enemy cannot hide behind towers, they can't hide in CS, they can't hide on objectives, you will always be able to right click them. You need to do this against Fizz, because what he'll try to do is he'll try to Q you, and then you can buffer your Q when he Qs, and your Q will still go through even if he E's because your Q is unstoppable. So what he'll do is he'll try to Q you. When you go for last hit, good fizzes will try to Q you, and then you QQ. Even if he E's, your second Q will still go through, and you'll hard win that trade because you get your spell shield against him, which is huge against Fizz. Like, your passive shield makes it so hard for Fizz to match your damage. As long as you're always trading with your abilities up, you'll beat him every time. You can also ult when he ults you, which is another thing Fizzes don't realize. So a lot of Fizzes don't. Some Fizzes will, and they'll keep their distance. Fizzes that are smart will keep their distance when they ult you, because the thing is, or they'll E when they ult you. The thing is, when they ult you, there's like a timer on his ult, and if you ult on the same time that the fish pops out, then your ult and vulnerability frames will make it so that you don't actually take damage. You won't get knocked up either. So that's like something you can do is you can eat the ult on purpose when Fizz ults your team, and then you just have to make sure that you can ult someone on the enemy team, dodge the entire damage, and then you nullify Fizz's ult completely, which is like pretty insane. But yeah, because you can QQ him through that interaction, you just always beat him. You should never ever W when he has his E and Q up, because then he can just, if you try to W, you'll be locked in animation, he can Q you and then win the trade. So you should only W to punish him. And then same thing with E. You shouldn't E when he has E up, because then he'll just dodge it with his E. Something else you can do against Fizz is if he leads with E into you, you can E onto the wall during his E will splash, and then you E back onto him. As long as he doesn't have Q, it should be a free hit. But yeah, you should, whenever Fizz goes for CS or whenever he Qs you, you have to WQ him. And then as soon as he E's away, you can hit W. But yeah, like, he can't ever get CS because you're maxing Q, and then you just Q him as much as you can. And you just outburst him. You don't really need MR unless he's ahead. And you can just like beat him really easily. Sorry, I'm like really parched. I need water. I keep coughing because my throat's a little sore from talking. Next matchup, we have Galieo. Galieo is, in a way, a counter to Camille, in the sense that he can stop his roams, or her roams. But at the same time, he has a really weak lane phaser to her because of her ability to exploit the fact that he's a melee champ with low damage. He does have CC to cancel your E, so you have to watch out for that. But like, yeah, so like good Galeos, I've played against All Justice, like his Galieo makes the matchup interesting in that you have to really catch him off guard. You have to like LL Justice, obviously, like a Galieo one trick, he's like really one of the best champs, one of the best players on the champ mechanically probably. And he doesn't like just let me E him for free. What he'll do is he'll like, if I E, he'll buffer his E through, so that way he'll dodge my E and then hit his E. So you can't just max range E Galieo, or he can charge his taunt while you E and then cancel the E completely. But at the same time, you can just get Vamp Scepter, absorb all the poke, and then hit him with your W and stuff, and then like W him, E quickly if you can, ult when he tries to E you, and you just do a lot more damage because he's meant to counter mages. His passive doesn't do anything for the mage shield. But like if you try to roam against him, you have to always be careful because his ult will follow you. Like he just has to walk into the river a little bit and he can match your roam completely. So against Galieo, like, you should dodge if your teammates have bad matchups because you can't help them, because Galieo will ult when you roam, and then it's just a disaster. But like, you can punish him. As I said, I sound like a broken record. This is like going to be the main case. If you have a jungler that wants to gank for you, it should be free kill because he has no mobility. Gangplank is probably winning. Like, I'm a little hesitant because, for one, some of these champs you see very rarely, and two, from my experience playing against these champs, they're not always the best player. So like, maybe against a god tier Gangplank, it's probably a neutral matchup, simply because Gangplank is like pretty AIDS to deal with. He has a lot of sustain, he has a lot of kite. Like, really good Gangplank players are really good, and they just are so good at their champ, and they don't make mistakes, and like it's really hard to actually kill him because he can zone you pretty easily. So for that reason, I'm gonna put him in B tier. But like most of the time, if he's better the champ, it's just another Darius, Cho'gath, Aatrox kind of matchup where you can hit him with W a few times, get him low, Ian, kill his barrels, because when you stun him, you can auto his barrel so that he can't get the value out of it. He's really easy to gank actually because even against movement speed, if you have ult on him, he can't get away and like you just kill him because he's squishy. So yeah, if he's really bad, like it's super easy to snowball against him because he's immobile. Once you get one kill on him, the lane's over for sure because you have enough burst to kill him for the rest of the game. But I'd say it's neutral because he doesn't really have an advantage against you. In fact, even against a good Gangplank player, you still can outroam him. So I'm going to put him back up to A tier. You have a slight edge on him because you just outroam him. You have better prio. You have a stronger early game than him for sure in fights. So yeah, if you're against like Solar Baka or some shit, you're going to feel like Solar Baka plays top. So like, I don't know. I've played versus Solar Baka many times. And that was on Riven. And I think like the matchup was winnable back in the day. People used to always say Riven Gangplank was Riven favored. I'm like pretty sure that Riven just has no chance against most matchups that she used to win. Like Riven's in such a bad spot, and like Camille and Riven are pretty similar, so Gangplank can kite Riven and Camille like pretty easily, but just the ult is what makes Camille really strong in the Gangplank. So yeah, it's like kind of awkward to discuss certain champs like Annie. I've seen very rarely, but like you can still like as I said, simulate the matchup in your head and gauge the idea of how free the matchup would be. Like even though I've never played against an Alistar mid lane, honestly, Alistar would probably beat Camille because Alistar is kind of broken. But my point is, you can like get a good idea of how easy a champ would be based on experience with the champ, just playing against it, playing in the same game with it, even if you don't win against it. Garen mid for when you're against Wrist. If you're in the range of diamonds, you'll be fighting Wrist, and he plays Garen mid. He plays Garen top and mid. So I can say that I have played the matchup before. Garen is like super bad into Camille because same thing with Cho'gath, Aatrox. You just deal more damage than him. You can buffer your Q through his Q, and that makes it so that he can't deal damage to you because you get your passive off, so it negates his Q completely, and his silence doesn't mean anything because you get your Q off during his silence. Super easy to set up for ganks because he literally has no mobility. Super easy to harass him, take his passive off. You just outrange him, you outscale him really hard, you can get as much armor as he wants, your Q just shreds through him like butter. He can't run you down because of the small lane, so he can't run you down with E and stuff. Like, it's just such a free matchup. There's no reason why you should ever lose against it. We got Gragas, so Graggy, I have also played against both Woody Fruity and Panunu. Not Panunu. Am I getting confused with the restaurant? Panera? No, Panera's the restaurant. Okay, I'm tired. It's not. I'm definitely not able to focus. Okay, Panunu, not the restaurant, is another Gragas player with Woody Fruity. They both like one trick Gragas, and they both have like pretty funny, insane montages. Like I didn't know about AP Gragas until I saw them play, and it's like pretty insane how much there is with the champ, like all the combos you can do with the champ, all the animation cancels. You should definitely watch some montages if you're curious. But so I have played out the matchup before several times, and it's like slightly losing for Camille because Gragas has a lot of burst. He can stun you out of your E. He can stun you as you try to E him. But what will happen is you guys will both, like, your E will proc and his E will proc. But actually, I think I'm wrong about that. I'm pretty sure his E cancels. Yeah, like it's been a long time since I played the matchup, but I want to say either they both hit each other. I should probably know this before I go into a video about it. I mean, it's probably. I mean, the matchup's gonna be super rare. Like no one really ever plays Gragas unless you're against those two individuals. So, but he would probably know how the matchup or like how the interaction would work. But either case, He has harass with his Q. Should put early points into W to keep up with that harass. But the only thing you can do against him is really just wait for ganks. Like he's not that strong into you because like I said, Vamp Scepter is really good, and like your W kind of matches his Q harass. It's kind of just a skill. It's honestly really a skill matchup if anything, and he has a very small advantage because of his control over the minion wave. Like I said, if you try to walk up to minions, his E works through minions, whereas your E you need more wind up, and he can prepare for it and E you out of it and stuff. So yeah, that's like and also this is considering that they're really good one tricks at their champs, so they know the champs really good, like really well. But like I've also won against Ambusher Gragas, and the matchup's free because they don't know like what to do. So yeah, I'd say the matchup's like pretty. It's not that bad, but it's not Ekko bad. It's not Anivia level of bad, but it's still you. As long as you get Amar, you'll outskill. Like you can fight him later on. Like as long as you have Amar and he can't one shot you, you should always be able to fight him later on and just kill him. But yeah. Next matchup, Graves. I hate to. I don't know what the whole idea is with Graves mid. I always I obviously have a bias because I'm a Camille mid player, but I never really saw the idea behind Graves mid. I feel like it's just bad. He can't get his stacks. His autos are easily dodgeable through the minion wave. It doesn't make sense to me why he's played mid lane, but whenever he is, like there's some guy named Ben De Piano who used to play it before it was popular. I think that's his idea. I don't know how I just have these random names, these random one tricks that I just know that play certain champs. Yeah, I got the ID right. He actually, yeah, he unironically played, but like this isn't. See, 2 months ago, before it was popular. Wait, that'd actually be funny if I was in his game feed, because I think I played against him like 2 months ago or something. But anyway, yeah, I recognize this account. Yeah, Chef Boy ID. I know this guy. I played against him too several times. But anyway, I'm getting distracted. See, you playing against the same people in Diamond and Masters and GM and Challenger and stuff. So like, but anyway, Graves mid is like the same thing as Ezreal and Corki. You can just one shot him, dodge his autos through the minion wave. You can't really do anything until you have 6 because he can just E when you E. If he wastes his E and you can get your E on for free, you kill him for sure. But yeah, you just have to get level 6 and then just go on him, use every ability, and he's dead 100%. His smoke screen and slow is like the only way he can have counterplay, but as long as you just harass him down a little bit with W and then engage when he's 75% health, he's dead. Heimerdinger, E tier, insta E tier. I'm gonna just make this F tier honestly, because F tier for fuck these champs. Heimer players are some of the most elo cheaters in the. I'm saying it. They're just elo cheaters. Period. Like Heimer is so brain dead and so easy to play. Or I don't know. Okay, I wouldn't say he's easy to play because okay, you got to know certain mechanics on him. You have to hit your E. You have to hit W. You have to know what ability to ult. I'll give him that. But I think the concept of Heimer is just really unfun and honestly, it's just not fun for anyone to play against Heimer. He's just the only one having fun on Heimer is Heimer. Even if I don't understand the appeal to putting down turrets and just watching them farm for you and watching them zone off the enemy for you and just sitting there as you press W off cooldown, as you laugh at your enemy because they're just spared and there's nothing you can do against Heimer because everything that you if you E into him, he'll just stun you, you'll get blasted by his turrets. He does so much damage if he has 3 turrets lasering you and just hitting you. He can literally unironically one shot you with E. If you get caught by his E and you don't have a way of disengaging, he will kill you every time. If you E in, he E's you, you're dead, 100%. If you get your E canceled, you're dead, 100%. So you have to always have a way out, either flash or E out, but you should never get hit. You need Heimer's one of those champs that you just auto dodge, no matter what. You can't gank him obviously because his Q turrets just make maybe if you have Zac or Olaf, but even then it's the champ is so busted and dodging ganks, and he just wants to get ganked. He's like, Heimer is like the Illaoi of top lane, where he wants to get ganked. He's just so hard to ever do anything against. You can't max W because his turrets just outrange you, his W outranges you. Only thing you can really do is roam, but then you're just going to be perma roaming, you're going to be down in CS, down in levels, he'll carry the game. So he's like just so cancer, you just have to dodge him. Like, if you have a bad match, like there's no reason to play him. Like Camille's a champ that can't play when behind. Like you're picking the wrong champ into Heimer. Camille is just so bad into Heimer. Just take my word for it. Don't play. It's the most unfun, uninteractive, no fun counterplay. Just like dodge it every time. Take my word for it. Speaking of Heimer, Illaoi is pretty free in mid lane. Well, honest, it's like the thing about Illaoi is that like I've played against really good Illaoi players that know what they're doing. Like the creator of not the creator but one of the analysts of Pro Guides. His name is I forgot his name, but he plays Illaoi. I'll probably remember his name later. But he's an Illaoi player. He plays at mid lane, and I've played against him, and he is like really good at Illaoi. He just knows how to hit every ability. Like Illaoi's like kind of a skill matchup, but not really, because her E's like impossible to dodge. If she like just plays it out perfectly, you can't really beat her because if she connects the E, you can't engage. If she misses the E, then you kill her. So it's like that's like kind of how the matchup dynamic works. Because the lane is short, you can max W and just like try to harass her, and then go in when she's low, and then finish her off. But even then, she can return with Q when you W and stuff. So it's semi-skill, but not really. And you can like I think the matchup's probably slightly in Camille's favor because if she's bad, you'll just punish her really easily. And if you have a jungler, then it's like easy to punish. Like a lot of the time when I say she has really good setup, that also goes both ways. She has really good escape. Camille could just get out of basically every gank. Like very few junglers can actually kill her when they gank. So when you have good setup and the enemy doesn't for ganks, that's like obviously an inherent advantage in the matchup. So you should always just be able to like set up a gank against Illaoi by just like doing nothing, harassing with W, and then going in when she's low, 50% HP. You can alter your jungler's there, and it's just a free kill. Every jungler should have enough damage to be able to kill her. Zac, Hecarim, Vine, you name it. Like it's just a free, just kill him kind of thing. Alright, so the next champ, Irelia. Irelia. So I have a clip of me solo killing TF Blade on Irelia. So I'm not just flexing this, I'm going to show you the clip because this will kind of explain the matchup in a nutshell. Here it is right here. So I played against TF Blade when he was on his Smurf. You don't know who TF Blade is, I don't know what you're doing with your life. Because he's like one of the best top laners for solo queue. He gets insane win rates. He gets rank 1 in every region. He is abusing 2 of the best Bork users after the buff. I mean, he was good. Obviously, I'm not like taking anything away from TF Blade, but like, point is, he so he engages into me, right? He hits his ult. He hits his E. And he takes a tower shot, right? Does he take 2 tower shots? So we're both full HP. Is that 1 or 2 tower shots? There's only 1 tower shot, right? I mean, you look at the item difference, right? I do take damage from minions, so I guess, maybe that equates to tower shot. But like, I have a Tiamat, a longsword, refill. I should have used my biscuits. He has a fucking Vamp Scepter. And I would have lost this if he didn't take a tower shot. So maybe the minions were the deciding factor, but like even then, why is the fight so close when I have such a big item discrepancy? It makes 0 sense to me. Like it makes absolutely 0 sense. Like how I'm just barely winning this. I mean, I guess he also does have his stacks. So why am I showing this? Because you can see how strong the champion is with having no items and just taking tower shots and stuff. Just going through my passive shield like it's nothing. Just eating my burst like it's nothing. So like, I think the matchup is... It's like, as long as she doesn't have stacks, you can beat her, but she's always going to have her stacks. But she's really squishy. You can run her over if you are very careful about trades. I think if you can just dodge her E or dodge her ult with your ult, you should be able to win. So I think, I did get hit by both abilities in the clip. So I think, especially because the lane is shorter, it's like a lot harder for Irelia to do anything. But I'm still going to put her as a losing matchup because just how strong Bork is right now, and because of how she can freeze the lane early on, and there's not much you can do to break the freeze. If you try to W her, she can Q to you. And like, yeah, just Irelia freeze is brutal. Her ult does damage, yours doesn't, which is another big thing. You have more burst than her, but she has a lot more DPS than you, and she can just get Vamp Scepter to survive your burst. So like, it's not as bad as these champs, but it's still easy to set up for ganks. It's still easy to snowball against. You can, once you're ahead of her, you'll just steamroller like there's no tomorrow. It's like really easy to kill her and stuff. So yeah, I'd say that she's like slightly losing. It's like pretty insane. Okay, next champ. So Jarven, I'm gonna include Jarven because he has been a mid laner in the past. I still think Jarven is like, I don't know why he's not played in support or mid lane as much. I feel like there's a place for him. I feel like he's just forgotten about. So I still think that there's still some potential in Jarvan. But people don't utilize him enough. Honestly, he's probably he's kind of like Diana in the sense that you just can get a Vamp Scepter, heal from his harass, but he has a pretty strong, harass before you get Vamp. But I think, even with that being said, he's a little weaker than Diana because his EQ is super clunky, really easy to dodge, really easy to predict, and you can E before he can EQ. So I'd say it's slightly winning for you, even more so than Diana. What I can even do is I can, like, if I'm really try hard on this tier list, I can go from left to right, like, easiest to hardest. So I guess that's like just too much work. Like, because like I said, it depends on junglers and stuff. So I'll just keep him in the tiers for now. But I'd say that, like, yeah, he's like kind of like, he's able to cancel your E, which is something you have to be concerned about, and he has a lot of burst still. But I think your burst is just better than him because you have your passive and stuff. So yeah, you should, he's probably a S tier for you because just, he's not, I think he belongs somewhere in the meta, but he's not like that strong. He's definitely like a B tier character, probably reserved for a counter pick into a certain champ. So we got Jayce. So Jayce, and by the way, like, most of the time I'm just gonna put the champ in B tier, but like as I'm talking, I'm not gonna like, rank it right away. So Jayce is, I've played against like the only one trick Jayce that I know that I've played against is Mr. FM Jayce. He's kind of a shitter though, not gonna lie. He has pretty good mechanical skill on. I wouldn't even say he doesn't have good mechanical skill. Like he doesn't have mechanical. No, he's bad at Jayce. Like he does some things that are surprisingly good about Jayce. I don't know why I'm making this into what I think about streamers kind of video and how they play their characters, but like I'm only saying that because there aren't really many remarkable Jayce players that play mid lane and that I've played against. So I'm like kind of giving the only example that I can. And from what I've seen from FM Jayce, he's like really bad at the character. He doesn't really know what he's doing. And like the difference between him and an actual Jayce is substantial. And you can definitely tell the difference. So God tier Jayces will beat Camille until 2 items, and then you just destroy Jayce. Like, you just literally destroy him. You just absolutely destroy him. Jayce is such a bad champion right now.
even if you do well on him, he's just outclassed by so many champs. He can't split push against Irelia Jax. He gets shit on in lane too hard. He gets dove too easily top lane. Mid lane he gets outclassed. He still has some pretty strong harass. Like he's still a lane bully at the end of the day. But I think that you just outscale him as long as you don't fall too far behind. And like the thing about lane bullies is that they require jungle pressure, and he's not always going to get it. So if you have a jungler there, you can just kill him pretty easily. He can E your E, but like I said, when you have enough CDR, you can just go in, face tank his entire kit, and then just literally kill him. He's worthless to you. He's going to go lethality. You're going to get Triforce, Ravenous Hydra. You can heal his sustain. You should go Rav Hydra first, Spam Scepter first, and just, one of your 2 items. Maybe even Rav Hydra and Sheen. You'll have enough burst to kill him, even if he has Tabas and stuff. Next matchup. Jinx, Kaisa, Kalista, no. Kassadin. Actually, we'll do Karthus first, because Karthus has been played mid lane too. Karthus is definitely S tier. I'd even put him borderline SS tier. But he has a better lane face than what I'd consider SS tier. Because Karthus does have some counterplay. Like, he's still pretty strong. He still has his ult. Well, he's strong in the sense that he does a lot of damage. And, like, honestly, he probably belongs in SS tier. Because the champ is just going to die every time, level 6, no matter what. He has no sustain. I guess he can go Barrier and Flash. Like, it's hard for me to say, because once again, it's one of those rare picks that I don't really have everything figured out against him. I'd put him as tier. He's definitely as tier. Like, he's so squishy. Like, that's just the problem. Even if he goes Barrier, I still think you can one-shot him. It's like hard for me to say, because even if you can kill him, you have to be careful about his passive killing you, but you can just get Maw and still one-shot him and, like, just have a free time against him. So matchup should be easy. You just literally go in on him level 3 and he's like gonna be dead basically every time. This is like one of those rare matchups where you should go press the attack, because the burst is just, he's so squishy that you don't really need the value of Conqueror, especially early when you want to just go into him, do a small trade, and then disengage with that. Like, you can E into him, auto QQ W, and then disengage, and then do that again, and he's dead. So you don't need the value from Conqueror. It's just that simple. The matchup's that simple. Just dodge his Qs. Don't let him damage you. Don't let him get you low, so that he can kill you after you kill him with his passive. Katarina. So I've played against a lot of Katarina players. There's a lot of Cat 1 tricks, including Hublet. He's like a Korean streamer, if you don't know who he is. I don't think I've played against Gamer Girl, but I think I have played against Cat Evolved. I don't recall. I probably have at some point or another. I beat Hublet on Cat, but I think it's mainly... it's probably a skill... no, it's not a skill matchup. It's like winning. The reason why I'm hesitant to say it's... Like, 99% of Katarinas don't know what they're doing and are shit at the champ, and you should just, like, steamroll them 100%. Because level 6... you can cancel their ult. Their ult's considered a channel, and you can just cancel the ult with your ult, and then just kill them. But I think pre-6, she's actually winning the matchup. Like, okay, so level 1, you win the matchup because you can W. Level 2, you also win because you can W if she E's to you, you can E to her. And level 3, she can, like, kite your W. But even then, like, she doesn't really do anything because her ass is, like, non-existent. Like, she can Q you and stuff every now and again, but you have 3 pots, so you can sustain it all, and then you just stall for level 6, and level 6, you just literally obliterate her. Even if you die early to her, it doesn't matter. You can just E into her. As long as your E hits, you immediately alter, ignite her, auto Q Tiamat, auto Q, she's dead. Even if she ults, doesn't matter, you deal way more damage than her. She's super weak early. Katarina is only strong if she gets her kills, and she can just get her resets in fights. But before that, you're just a better champion than her, 100%. So, yeah, it's like... for that reason, I put her A tier. But, like, I would put her a higher rank. The worse the Katarina is, the higher the tier is, obviously, because a bad Katarina is just worthless the entire game. Doesn't know what to do, and you just, like, steamroll her in lane. And I'm also hesitant about putting her, you know, higher or lower, because Another thing is a lot of people don't have experience against the matchup of Camille, so they won't know exactly what to do. So with that being said, I think that if they got more experience, the matchup would be harder and harder, and then they would be tighter and tighter, and then like maybe they'd rush armor, and then if they rush armor, then the matchup's like neutral. So I'd say because of people's ignorance, it's A tier. I'd say it's A tier, borderline neutral. But yeah, I mean, you probably still have a slight edge because of your gank setup, but yeah. Okay, Kassadin. Kassadin's like even higher than Karthus. Karthus is like middle of S tier and SS tier. Kassadin is like prime. He's like Camille's best matchup. If you see Kassadin locked in, you just like are going to be so happy to pick Camille into. I think Camille is just universally the best counter to Kassadin, period. In every way possible. You out-roam him, you can beat him late game, you can kill him late game, you can trap him late game, you can set up ganks for him really easily, you can dive him level 6, you can... I made a video on him completely, you should watch my most recent video, Wave Management Part 2 of Camille Mid. You can see exactly what you need to know to kill Kassadin. He's super free, he's super low damage, he doesn't have any way to harass you, he has no way to disengage from your engage. He's just like one of the freest lanes for her. You just need to just hard beat him. And then something you need to know about Kassadin is that there comes a point to when Kassadin's 0-8, 0-9, 0-10, there's no reason to keep revisiting his lane. Like, you should just go and roam around, get Tiamat. You shouldn't be getting Tiamat early if you cannot, like, ever, like, roam. If their champs are too safe to... If you have, like, a Nami... Not even Nami. If you have, like, a Soraka, Ezreal bot lane, no engage, no CC, and they have Thresh Ezreal. It's like so hard to engage with that. Or if they have Tristana Thresh or something, it's so hard to engage with Tristana Thresh. So hard to ever get a kill because Tristana can ult you away, can W away, Thresh can flash W, Thresh can hook you out of your E, Thresh can E you out of your E. So against a lane like that, and top lane is like an equally hard matchup to gank, like Darius versus Riven or something, then you should just like never buy a Tiamat and just play for lane value, because if you buy a Tiamat, then you push the wave to him, and if you just freeze, then he can't actually CS, and he'll just be like 8 levels down, like unironically. As long as you just never die to him, never die to a gank. You have to also play around the jungler as well. You can't just go in whenever you want. You have to make sure you know where the jungler is before you engage. You don't just die for no reason. And yeah, so as long as you just set up your freeze, he tries to break it, you go in, you kill him. You can see exactly how to wave manage against him. And yeah, if you have like good matchups that you can gank for and you can die for, then yeah, definitely get a team out after the first kill, and then just shove in the lane and then roam around as early as you can and start spreading your advantage elsewhere, because the longer the game goes without you helping your teammates out, the less control you'll have, assuming that they lose. So try to just spam gank when you're against him. Next matchup, Karma. Karma can be played mid lane. I'd say it's like neutral because she just like pretty aids with her healing and her W. You can probably kill bad Karmas really easily, but a good Karma will just be able to kite you. Like a godlike Karma, like Faker level Karma with like super good movement, they'll just kite you all day. But like there's no... You just have a slight edge against her because you can roam and she can't. That's like the only thing. You just have like faster priority. You can get to fights faster. You do more in earlier fights, and you can roam easier and have a really good gank, whereas she can't. She just doesn't roam as well, so she can't follow your roams as well either. And if you catch her out, she's a free kill, and she can't really catch you out. So easy to set up for ganks for your jungler because she's a ranged champ. So yeah, I'd put her slightly above neutral, but if she's like godlike at the champ, then you'll never be able to catch her, just because she can just stun you as soon as you engage in. Hit you with the Q, she gets the Mantra W healing. But like Karma's like not really a viable solo without having Klepto for the Klepto value. Even then, she wasn't that strong. She's kind of like an off-tank caster for the people that like to run around, never dying as Karma. Like, but they nerfed, they got rid of Klepto, so like she's not really viable top lane or anything. I bet some people still play it, but yeah, it's just like outclassed. You might as well just play Jackson, do it Irelia into it and farm, and it's horrible. So same thing if Karma just goes like tank or something and tries to just kite Camille with ice like Hextech GLP, like doesn't matter. You should just
be able to like outscale it 100%. You just hard outscale, but early on it might be annoying from harass. Next matchup we have Jhin. I'm not gonna really consider a mid laner. Kayle. Kayle is another SS tier champ because same thing as Kassadin. So everything I said about Kassadin apply to Kayle. She has just no way around you. It's just hard snowball. So I'll just like link the timestamp for Kassadin. Next champ, we got Kennen. So Kennen abusers are pretty cancer to play against because you should never theoretically be able to kill Kennen ever. It's really hard to even set up a gank against Kennen because you can just ult when you ult. Unless you have a really strong jungler that can lock him down with CC. Like, if he's on cooldown, it's easy to kill him, but if he has his cooldowns up, then it's like impossible to kill him. So I'd say that the matchup's like difficult for Camille because he can harass you early, he has no mana cost, and you don't really have a way of engaging into him. Like you definitely need Vam Scepter into him and maybe refill to keep up with his harass. Against bad Kennens, it's going to be an easy lane because he'll mess up his positioning. Like that's honestly the common factor in all these matchups. Like the matchup's like bad if the enemy is good, but then if the enemy's like not even close to being like, even like the thing is it's so tight against Camille. Like playing Kennen versus Camille, you have to be really really good with your movement if you're like harassing and stuff, or you can just sit and farm and do nothing and play like a pussy. And then like it's just neutral. But if you're super good at Kennen, same thing with Jayce. If you're like super good at Jayce, like then it's a hard matchup for Camille because then they can just harass you and stuff. But if you don't really know what you're doing on the champ, then or if you don't have like that good movement, then it's like not gonna be that hard of a matchup. LeBlanc, F tier. Mick Bays is who I was thinking of, by the way, the challenger player. That he even though he's like he like peaked way higher than I don't know how he's DT. He has multiple accounts, but anyway, this guy he plays Illaoi. Oh wait, are both his? I don't know. He has like I think he has another account that he plays on. But anyway, this guy, he plays Illaoi mid, and like he was the one that made Illaoi like pretty annoying to play against. But anyway, I digress. LeBlanc is probably up there with Azir in terms of cancer and unplayability. You need to dodge him just like how you dodge Heimer and Azir. I thought I already ranked Cassiopeia. I guess I didn't. Oh, I did. I did gank Cassiopeia. She's like these 4 champs. I banned Cassiopeia, right? The only reason why I don't ban any of these champs is because of how like often they're not played, how like rare they are. Like you rarely see Azir players, but when you do, they're cancer. You rarely see Heimer players, but when you do, they're cancer. You rarely see LeBlanc players because she's like, I wouldn't say she's weak, but she's very hard to pilot. Like Bobkin definitely plays LeBlanc. Not even at a good level. I think he has his moments of when he does really well in the champ. Like he'll surprise me. Like he'll do some really fancy outplays and stuff, and his mechanics like can be good, but I still think he lacks a lot of fundamentals, and he doesn't really know what he's doing in terms of wave management, nor like he doesn't maximize LeBlanc to the full potential. I think like you can really see the difference between Korean LeBlancs and Bobkins. Like it's insane how much more pressure they apply. Like he'll make a lot of mistakes. I just play Diana into LeBlanc, and I've beat him in lane on Diana. Diana's like my secondary character. Like I'm giving Bobkin because he's like one of the only LeBlanc players that I consistently can remember playing against. Because a lot of people don't pick LeBlanc, so I'm like trying to give you guys the best player that the best LeBlanc player, the best ex-champion player that I've played against, so that way you can gauge what I feel like. Because I can like obviously beat a random silver LeBlanc no matter what, but
you know, someone that dedicates all their content creation and all their time on LeBlanc. He would still rate me in the matchup. Like, LeBlanc Camille is still like 100% Camille or LeBlanc favorite, and he just completely destroyed me on that matchup just because of how unwinnable it is. But I still think that you know, even if they're not that good of the champ, it still beats you because every part of the kit just counters you. You have super like insane mobility to catch up to Camille. You have burst. You can't really apply your passive against LeBlanc because she can just QW and then take your W right away. She has CC to stop your E if she times it properly. But, well, no, you have to mistime your E properly. Like, you can E when you're rooted. But yeah, she just has so much harass. She has her invisibility. So even if you can alter with your jungler, she still can just escape because you get her low, she's invisible, she can W flash away. Like, maybe if she's low, you can alter, and then, you know, your spawn or something hits her E and that's a free kill. But other than that, it's like really hard to kill her. Like, you have to have really good coordination with your jungler. She has to also be on cooldown. But yeah, she's just another champ that I dodge 100% because of how AIDS it is to deal with. She'll get a lead and then just roam around and kill your laners. So yeah, pretty much a dodge lane. Kindred mid, there is one guy named Kinder something. There's a lot of drama. I think his name is something 1v9. There's a lot of drama between him and Scrubnoob because there's like this one play where they thought one thing should be some way. That's like how I remember him, and I think I've never played against him. But he plays Kindred mid. So I mean, I'm not gonna bother ranking Kindred because, like, unless you're against that guy specifically, which is, you know, gonna be very rare. The matchup's probably I guess I'll put Kindred S tier because it's probably just the same thing as Ezreal and Corki. I don't see how it's different. Level 6, you still have more burst than she does, so you can just engage. She puts down her ult. You just have to save your Q for when she's out of her ult, and then I think you just kill her. So, but I haven't played at the matchup, so that's just my theory. But yeah, it shouldn't be that hard. KogMaw, I know that Froggen plays KogMaw, AP KogMaw. I've never ran into Froggen's AP Cog before. So, Froggen's a beast, honestly. He has really good movement. I have played against Froggen's Cog. Pretty sure I have. I vaguely remember it. I think I got solo kill or something. I don't remember, but yeah, I'm pretty sure I like solo killed it at one point because level 6, he doesn't have a way off of you, so I guess I'll just put it up there with the ADCs. Can just go in. He goes AP KogMaw. Like, I know Froggen's like trolling when he goes AP KogMaw, but I think Voidboy plays it too or something, or someone else does. But yeah, it's like another free matchup. Lissandra is probably C tier. So, like, it's neutral and lane. Like, both sides don't get an advantage. You can farm easily against her. Her harass does nothing. It's insanely hard to gank her, though, because she can ult you, and then she can E, and then ult you, and then you're... Like, okay, so if you E into her, right? She can W you, E, ult you, take the E, and then she's out. Or if you ult her, she can ult herself, wait for the ult to expire, and then E away. So she's like, Aftershock with Lissandra players are just basically pussies. They're saying, I don't know how to lane. I'm going to play a champ that plays itself. And just never... She's like the Maokai of mid lane, where she just has so much CC. She's impossible to kill. She's a team fight, which is why I think she's C tier, because she like nullifies Camille's win con in team fights. Like, Camille can't really just one-shot someone with Lissandra being up. I think Lissandra does more in team fights because of that. She has better wave clear than Camille. I think that your roams are better than Lissandra, so maybe I'll put it in B tier because of that. You can roam, you just out roam it. You just get Rav Hydra, shove in the wave, match your wave clear, and then roam. And then she doesn't really have a response to that. She'll take TP, so maybe she can TP in and stuff, but yeah, she's like just pretty cancer Aftershock. Really hard to just ever stay on her. Lucian, same thing as S tier. Free matchup, you just same thing as Corki and Ezreal, so I'll link their timestamp. nothing new or else to say. I guess he's just slightly stronger, but not really. So we have Malphite, AP Malphite mid lane. It's still gonna be winnable for you. It's gonna be probably S tier as well. Because it's like Cho'gath, it's like Aatrox. Probably, yeah, it's S tier. Because like you should, even though he has a lot of poke early, you can just match it with W, and then yeah, you just E in. He has no response. You beat him in short trades, and then level 6, he just doesn't have enough damage to kill you. Your passive shield negates all of his burst, and yeah, you just have more damage than him. You can just ult him really easily for a jungle setup, so he's like pretty free. You have true damage for his armor spam too. Kayn mid lane, I have seen it before. It's really shit. You just like auto beat it. It's like there's nothing you can do. He's just too squishy, too vulnerable. Lucian mid, it's like free as fuck. I'm like skipping through some of these champs because like they are like probably played very rarely and they're just like free. Like I'm trying to like not make the video too long, but at the same time, I don't want to just skip over. Like the reason why Kayn and Lucian are just free is because the champs have problems with actually dealing damage to you to get you low enough to kill you and execute you. So you can just eat their burst with your passive, and then like you just have to hit all your abilities on Lee and Kayn, you just win. Lucian is like higher damage than Kayn for sure, but as long as you dodge the Q, you just win. Harass him with W and stuff, hit your E for free, and then kill Kayn. Lucian's probably a little bit more trickier because he has W. Lucian honestly might be, neutral or something. But like if they're picking Lucian mid, you just outscale it really hard, so I'm gonna just bump it up to A tier, I guess. Lulu, so Lulu mid has been a thing. It's the same thing as Lissandra, where it's not quite as cancer because you can ult it and then it's a free gank. Because even if she polymorphs you and ults herself, like you can still kill her with a jungler. So that you have that going for you, but yeah, Lulu it's like really hard to solo because she probably has a barrier or something, and then yeah, she just like avoids all your ganks and stuff. Or I'm sorry, just avoids all your damage by ulting herself when you go in, exhausting you or something, or polymorphing you. So that's like pretty annoying to deal with in terms of solo killing her when she's on. If she wastes her cooldowns like when she shouldn't, then yeah, it's like easy to kill her because she's still really squishy. But you also, she can probably do better in team fight. Like in split, if you can split push, then you're better than her. But if you can't split push, then she's probably better than you in fights. So I'll just put her neutral depending on the game. Probably slightly favored actually because of the fact that you can just gank her really easily, camp her really easily. That's like the only reason why she's A tier. Lux, she has like a stun, line stun. You can do the thing where you flash to this side and then E onto her. Lux is also like free. I've played against Yozu. He's a Lux one trick. Because once again, like no one really plays Lux except for Yozu. And I have to say that he's a pretty good Lux player. I think he's a crafty player, but at the end of the day, Lux is shit, and you should just punish her for being a bad champ. She'll go barrier and stuff and have W value, but you just outscale her really hard. You can a crucial thing to know about Lux Q is that you can let the Q hit you, and then you E while you're rooted. And most Luxes don't realize you can do that, and then they'll like preemptively ult after they Q you, or they'll preemptively E after they Q you, and then you can just E to the wall and engage onto them for free. You outscale them, it's a free gank. Like it's just like so easy to beat Lux. Malzahar is another elo cheater like Heimerdinger, but he's actually easier to beat than Heimer because he's very weak early. So pre-6 you should have no problem. Post-6 you need QSS, and then you can go. You shouldn't like rush QSS, but you should try to get it as soon as possible when you can. Like okay, that didn't make sense. You shouldn't like first item QSS. You should feel like you have enough damage to kill him and then get QSS. Whenever you feel like team fights are going to start, when you're needed in team fights, G8 QSS. Or if they have like a lot of CC, like if their jungler is Sejuani or something, then you can get QSS probably very early. Like we're talking about like Tiamat QSS kind of build, because then they'll just like ult you and then there's nothing you can do to escape that. But if they don't have like insane pressure, then just get like build normally and then QSS later, because QSS is so important because it like kind of negates everything in his kit, and then you can kill him by yourself if he's by himself. But without QSS, he can like stop your combo and stuff and just prioritize you in the fight and ult you. But like yeah, like Malzahar is one of those champs. Like every game has one of those characters that I'm sure you guys know what I'm talking about, where in those there's like fighting games and stuff where there's that one character that just has that one ability that you just spam over and over again. And there's no skill, there's no fundamental talent. It's so easy to play. There's like nothing you could like. There's not no counterplay, but it's just an annoying free character to play that anyone can play, that takes no skill, that's super abusable, that's anti-fun, that should not exist, and that's what Malzahar is. He's an elo cheater. You don't actually have to know how to play the game to play Malzahar. You can literally EWQ every wave. You have a free spell shield every 30 seconds. You use ult to priority target. You have minions farming for you. There's no mechanical skill acquired in piloting Malzahar. With that being said, you can still like probably kill him early if he's bad, but if he just like plays like a pussy, then you just outscale him, I guess. But you outrun him, outscale him. But yeah, it's like pretty insane how easy it is to pilot Malzahar for the skill required to play him. Like you can, I'm sure every Malzahar one trick has a negative win rate on the other champs they play. That's how just broken he is. You can just get into diamond free, even if you're a plat player at heart, just because of how stupid Malzahar is. And underactive he is. Yi, no. Wukong, I'm not going to count him as a mid laner because he's not really played mid. Mordekaiser, he is same thing as Illaoi, where like he is kind of broken, but you still should be able to beat him because the lane's short, only because he can't really run you down. Like Mordekaiser is still really strong into Camille, I think, because of the stat steal and how broken Tab Eyes is and Seeker's Arm Guard is and Hourglass is in general. But you outrun him, you have way more mobility, and set up ganks really easily because he literally has no mobility at all. He has no way of getting people off of him except for his E, I guess, but you can just flash it or something or sidestep it. So yeah, it's super easy to set up ganks. You can do really well into it if you snowball ahead. But yeah, you can just win trades early against him because you just deal more damage than him. Try to dodge the E or Q. Lead with W, E in quickly, auto Q, sidestep his E, auto Q again. He'll hit you with Q, then you disengage with W. Morgana has been played mid lane, so we'll put her on the list too. She's exactly like Lux, so I'll put her down for this timestamp of Lux. You can do the same thing where you E when she Qs. Nico is pretty much like she's like a harder version of Lissandra, where she has the root and stuff and high damage. I think Nico's a pretty BS character. She just does so much damage, even after the nerf. Like I still think she does a lot of damage. Her invisibility makes her pseudo LeBlanc-esque, where like she can just W you and then you can't like keep going. She can stealth your second Q, so like it's pretty aids. Gets a lot of movement speed and stuff. Can dodge your E. So like it's pretty hard to catch up to the champion too. So I'd put her C tier. She's like Anivia, where like she's really slippery to kill, pretty annoying to fight. I consider dodging her, just because like I would never dodge an Irelia because most Irelias are dog shit. But like I also wouldn't dodge an Ekko because most Echoes are dog shit. But like a lot of these champs, I just straight up dodge because there's no point in playing out losing matchups in low elo. You can't rely on your team. Like I said, unless you have really good matchups all across the board or like Smurfs on your team, you should just dodge if you don't want like the matchup you're playing in. If you're in like Plat, Diamond, MMR, because like I'm like climbing a new account right now, and the win rate's pretty bad, but like I dodge a lot on this account because there's just so many bad matchups that are so hard to play. So my other account got locked for botted because I purchased it. So on luck, I have to train a new one up. But anyway, the other one I was like, see a lot of like this is like kind of sidetracking, but I like made the other account, it went 42-5 or something, and all solo, like I'm not doing ever on either account. And like I don't know, this account was like 42-15 or something, and the other account was 42-5. There's just like so much RNG with teammates. It doesn't mean that you need to blame your teammates. Like I made videos about that in the past, how you should always focus on yourself. But regardless, like I just got a lot of AFKs, a lot of people that didn't want to play out the game, got mad for some reason, and just griefed. So you know, that's whatever. Pantheon is like Giga AIDS, same thing as a Kylie. He just out damages you, has so much burst, so much poke. Has a stun lock. He can out roam you. He's exactly like a Kylie in that sense, where his kit just counters yours. If you try to E in, he can stun you. If you know, you can't really W him because he'll Q you and stun you. His invulnerability is like really cancer to fight because he can block a lot of your damage if he W's at the right time. Or is it E that gives him his invulnerability? I don't really know. But yeah, that ability is just so broken. Nautilus was picked mid lane, but they just like kind of made him a support, so not worth going over him. Nocturne is pretty AIDS. Not gonna lie. His fear, like if he E's you, you can just E to the wall. I'd actually put him A tier. Because if he fears you, you just E to the wall, and then you can E back onto him, because you can E onto the wall out of his fear range, and then E back onto him after the fear range expires. But like his ult is pretty annoying to play against because he applies so much pressure for his teammates. He can kill you if he just catches you off guard with the fear. Like you just have to make sure that you E right away. You can't wait too long, otherwise if you E at the wrong time, he'll cancel your E with his fear. And yeah, just you get Vamp Scepter to like he has a lot of sustain too with his passive, so like it's hard to kill him early. He has the spell shield to block the stun, but he's like really easy to set up for ganks for. That's like the only reason why I put him A tier. That's like the common denominator. He's a melee champ with no dashes, so he's easy target for junglers. Orianna is really aids to fight if it's actually a really good Orianna player, but there are very few players that can actually pilot Orianna really well. So unless you're playing in like high challenger, you're not gonna fight a good Orianna. Like master Oriannas, GM Oriannas cannot space. They cannot play out the matchup right. They'll just misposition and you can kill them really easily. So I'd put the matchup really bad if it's actually a good Orianna that knows how to space. If it's not, if you're not fighting fucking Dopa, it's free lane. Cause like even though she has a lot of harass, level 6 you just all in her. You put some points in W, you W her, you eat, you know, you both go down to 40% health. You have more pots than her because you have more sustain with Longsword 3. And then you just go in for the kill. She'll miss position most of the time because, like I said, Orianna takes so much mechanical skill to play perfectly. Ornn mid was a thing at one point. Ornn is like fucking broken. Like I just dodged the champ as well. He's like, he's not exactly F tier because he doesn't have as much range. Like you can still farm against him, but he's still really, really strong. It guarantees a really good late game. Like he's just broken as fuck. Pyke mid lane is a thing. I'd say that you have a slight edge against him because his damage is super low. He doesn't have good mobility to roam, but you can just match it. And he's kind of like a worse version of Camille, honestly. Like, I'd see him as a worse version of Camille. Sorry, I got a Discord notification. Let me close that out. Let me just reply to this really fast. Okay. So, let me just exit out Discord. Sorry about that. Back to the video. Ornn, yeah, Ornn's just like Giga Cancer. Alice is right. Ornn should just be played so much more, but he's not for some reason. Just he just does so much damage. He's just like the god. He's not like a god. In like competitive play, I think he needs to be utilized a lot more. In solo queue, it's harder because teammates are pretty papega, but he's still really strong as solo. Like, he still can do so much solo. Okay. Rakan mid was a thing at one point, but they nerfed it. Rakan's like kind of like a pseudo Pyke. Or I think I was reviewing Pyke, right? I don't remember. But like, oh yeah, I was reviewing Pyke. I'm sorry. Pyke was Pyke is like like Pyke players that are like I'm in the X kind of Pyke players that are one tricks. Like I don't think I've ever laid against him, but I've played against his Pyke multiple times. You are in the X is his name. And he's just super slippery. Like, he knows his champ really well. He knows his limits really well. But if you can ult Pyke, he's very squishy and very easy to kill, which is something you need to keep in mind. But like his lane face is really bad because, you know, it's just kind of neutral, but you have the edge because you just deal more damage. You can run to fights easier. You outscale him really hard. You can catch him out with your ult, and he can't really do the same to you. So you can cancel your E with his Q and with his E, so you have to be careful about that. But yeah, other than that, it's like a pretty free matchup. Renekton is Giga broken into Camille because his W shreds your passive, and even when you're losing, he's still super strong because of Bork, and he can just still like win the fight even if you're ahead. So what you have to do against the champ is just hope to God that he's bad, but if he's a competent player, you have no chance. Like I said, every part of his kit counters you. He has sustain. He can E when you W. He can W your passive. He's just turbo broken, 100% turbo broken. Riven mid is a thing. I used to play Riven mid, but she's so shit, so it's like free matchup. Put her SS tier because literally champ does nothing. She can punish you if you mess up your E, but like I'd say just S tier. You have to. She's kind of like Fizz, where you just sit on the wave, and then if she goes for minions, you just Q her, and like you W her after she doesn't have dashes. But yeah, you always win the QQ as long as you have passive up. So yeah, it just should be free. She's all melee. She has no way to get minions if she doesn't have her dashes. So pretty free lane. I think we're getting close to the end here. We just only have a few more champs, I'm pretty sure. Rumble is AIDS as well. He's kind of like Renekton, where he does so much damage. He has W for your W. He has poke to keep up with your poke. His ult, he just puts it on top of himself when you engage with your E. So like, you can't really do anything against him. Even if you get sustained, he still can like zone you off the wave really well. I'd say that he's not as bad as Renekton and stuff because you can like actually gank him pretty easily. Like that's like the number one weakness. You can just gank him. But yeah, you should avoid fighting him until you have Maw, and then just wait for your jungler. Just make sure you can't one shot you. Maw is pretty vital because as long as you can survive his ult and his like burst, you should be okay. Next matchup we have Ryze. Ryze is super free. I'm putting him in SS tier. You can just literally W him, E, auto QQ. He's half HP. Do that again, he's dead. Level 6 guaranteed kill if you haven't already killed him by then, which you should have. Nothing you can do. Completely winning matchup for you. You can E even if he roots you. It's just like giga free. Just like if you fall behind against him, like he'll obviously beat you. Same with all these champs. If like you fall behind against the thing about these SS tier champs, they're really good because of how strong they are late game. If all these champs are hyper scaling late game carries. If you mess up and you die against them, like even though they're the most freest, they're also the most scariest. If you mess up against any of these champs, you lose the game. If you fall behind, you lose because once they're ahead, they just outscale you really hard. Kled mid, it's also something that I can go over because CLAM I know plays Kled jungle and he'll play it mid lane if he's put in mid lane. There's some other Kled mid players. Kled is pretty cancer because his passive just makes it so that you can knock him off his bird. It's like Kled is like Anivia where you knock him off his bird and he just gets back on right away. Like you don't have enough damage to kill him by the time you can get back on his bird, but you definitely outscale him. So I'd say I put him neutral because he doesn't have much pressure. He doesn't have as much pressure as these champs in CD and F tier. He can't really harass you. It's like very neutral. You just get Vamp Scepter. You can heal up all his poke. And honestly, you can poke him down and zone him. So I'd put him in A tier just because you can poke him down and like even though you can get back on his bird, like you can still get him low for a jungle gank and stuff, and like he still can like roam and stuff. So I'd put him like in between A and B. Well, I'll just put him in A tier. Syndra, F tier, another complete counter. She has so much damage, so much burst. You just auto dodge Syndra. She can E your E. Her champ is super overtuned. It's so hard to punish her. The champ is so easy to play. She doesn't have a cast summon on her Q. Like you just have to dodge Syndra. She just like can literally one hit you if you have no MR level 6. Really broken. Scion, no. Singed. Soraka. So Ellis is going on about how Soraka is good in solo lanes, and I completely disagree. I think Soraka is... Actually, let me rephrase. Ellis thinks that Soraka is a good counter pick. I can see that, and yeah, I agree with that. Like, she can be a really good counter pick into certain matchups. Because of how obnoxious a solo laning Soraka is, like, if she's, like, higher level than everyone else or the same level as everyone, she literally presses W for like a 600 strength like heal. Her ult does like she can W ult someone for full HP, and she gets that pressure since level 6. So she's like really good into hyper carries and stuff that need healing. So like I can see her in that sense, but against an aggressive pick like Camille, she's just gonna get destroyed the same way Kayle would. Or any of these champs would. Like, you can just engage in her level 3. Like, same thing with Karthus, Rise. You just engage in her, you just steal all her health. Hold rotation, second rotation, you just auto-kill her. So then now we got... I don't want to include Sona, because, you know, that's a stretch. Like, Sona mid is a stretch. Like, I guess I can. I'm just going to try to be as thorough as I can. Sona mid is just really bad. Just suffers the same problems as... all these champs do. They just have no way against Camille Engage. They just get destroyed in one hit. Swain is actually really hard to beat because his E gets rid of Yuri. It's like the same thing with Anivia. His E just gets rid of Yuri, and his ult makes him like super hard to fight. You can't really burst him through his ult. You can beat a really bad Swain if they mess up their E. If they like miss their E completely, then you just go in and kill them 100%. And you can set up for ganks. So I'd put him neutral just because it's like a Lissandra kind of thing where you can go in on him and then he just like E's you, so you should never like trade with him. You can out roam him though, but like he does really well in team fights, so it just depends on the context of the game of whether or not you're stronger. But yeah, if you try to harass with W, he'll E you, Q you. If you try to E in, he'll E you, Q you. So yeah, I mean he'll go phase rush. So like if you try to W him, he'll E you, Q you, auto you, get phase rush, and then disengage. You can't E. So we're almost done here. Talia is SS tier as well. Same problem as Rise, Kayle, all these champs. She's just super weak. She does have her W, but it doesn't matter. You just kill her level 6 100%. You just E in and 100% kill her level 6 because she has no way out of your engage. You ult her W and she's dead. She's too squishy. And you just like put a few points into W early. You just harass her with W until she's like 60% H, and then you go in, kill her for free. Like what I mean by go in, kill her for free, you just lead with W, E in, flash the W if you need to, auto Q, and then she's like dead 100%. Or you like flash auto Q, or you... Most of the time, the Talias aren't good enough to like W perfectly. And if they are, you can just flash it, and then you like trade flashes, and the next time you go in, she's dead. It's like unbearable for her. Silas is it's hard to say because his heal, like I think actually he's pretty annoying to fight because he has the same pressure. Like, you know how I always say like, oh, you know, you can just set up games against basically all these champs, not against Silas, or like how you can set up ganks and then you can escape ganks really easily. Not really against Silas. Silas is able to just like steal your ult and then ult you, and then you have to face the same problem that all these champs have to face against you. So like, thing about Silas is because of that, you have to always worry about that pressure, and that's really annoying. He can go toe to toe with you in trades, but once you get Vamp Scepter, then you can like out trade him. So
I'd say the matchup is probably B tier. The better mid lane will win in this matchup, I think. You just have to make sure that you don't W when he has E. Like you have to start Q. You have to open Q. You get like push, which is really like a huge advantage that you have early. So I'd say because of that, because of the fact that you win early, like level 1, you can control the wave however you want, and because you can set up the wave really well, you can set up for your jungler, and that gives you a huge advantage right off the bat. But like he still has some compensation, and that he can apply a lot of pressure with his ult, stealing your ult. He can his W is like deceptive. He can be low and then heal for so much damage. He can snowball really well. He can steal someone's really good ult. He has a really good team fight. He can you can't ever just walk up and W. It's the same thing with Fizz against Silas. Like you can't just walk into him and then W him, because then he'll just E into you and then stun you, or he'll just W into you, or just he'll E away. So you have to only W when he doesn't have dashes. And you have to Q him when he goes for CS, 100%. And I think you should beat him, actually. It's good Silas's are pretty good, and they know how to be tricky and elusive. But I still think that the matchup's really good for Camille. Only that, you just have to watch out for getting ganked. Talon is free as hell, but he still gets compensation because of how much you can roam, but I still think you're stronger. You should always be able to beat him. As long as you don't fall behind, you're always stronger than him. You can always just combo him out, because your passive just eats a lot of his damage. But early on, you can just hard beat him. I guess I was removed from the party. I'm really sad. But I was against one of the, I think Open Backpack is a pretty well-known player. At least I've seen him in a lot of recordings of when I would watch VODs of players, I'd see this guy's ID a lot. So I don't know if he's high elo. Or I don't know what is I know he's high elo, but I don't know what his achievements are. I just ran into him once on one of my accounts, and you'll see how biased this matchup is. You can just start E into him. A lot of these matchups, you can just start E and just sit in this bush and then E into them. That's what you can do in basically every matchup. Take that with a grain of salt though, because you have to make sure that they're not over here when you're E in, because then you'll miss the E. If they basically against anyone level 1, if they're standing here, you can E in. Obviously excluding all of the F tier champs. You don't ever want to do that against F tier champs and D tier and losing champs. You'll lose that in exchange. But against most winning matchups, you can just go in, E in, and then you see how I got him this low early. It's because I just went in right now and chunked him. And there's nothing he can do, because how does he disengage? He just throws out a W, that's all he has, and I just keep autoing him. And even if I didn't do this trade, I'd be able to set up the wave however I wanted. I get the push, I'd have the wave frozen for me. He doesn't have an escape, I can just E into him, he doesn't have a dash away. I just steal all his health because he's squishy, and I can snowball the lane really hard. But the only thing you have to do is always make sure that you ping whenever he's Mia. Spam ping the fuck out of both bot lane and top lane when you see him leaving. If you don't know where he is, if he recalls, spam ping bot lane, spam ping top lane. Literally spam ping him from the moment he recalls to the moment that he's don't be obnoxious, obviously, to where you're gonna get muted or when they're gonna flame you, but try to communicate as much as you can where Talon is. That's the only way he can beat you, is if he gets roams off and gets kills for free. You just have to spam ping with me. Don't be afraid to control your teammates as much as you can by warning them. But yeah, you just can see here how much damage you do. This is this doesn't just apply to Talon. I ate literally his entire combo plus multiple tower shots, and he still just dies. It's pretty insane. And I still live. Because I auto this minion for my lifesteal from Dorn's Blade. And this time, I don't know why I wasn't going... this is when I was first experimenting with Camille too, mid lane. So I had a Dorn's Blade and I autoed that, but it's actually funny because the Dorn's Blade let me dive him because I got the 80 extra HP. But wait, I actually have a refill pot going. I don't even know what the fuck I was doing. Because I had longsword refill, but... Anyways, I don't know, somehow I autoed that and that gave me some health, so... I had lifesteal of some sort. But yeah, this is when I was first experimenting with her. I also have press attack in this video, but you should have Conqueror into Talon, but... yeah, you can just see how free that matchup is. You just, he has no defense against you, just one-shot him so easily. Level 6 is a little trickier, because... It's you can just ult when you go into him, but still, you should just be able to poke him down and then just get him down to half HP, and then ult him when he's in his ult and then kill him after. Or you can just force his ult, and then after he ults, he can't kill you, and then he's forced to back off, because if you guys are both 40%, you just go in and kill him. TF is kind of like Galieo, where you can follow your ult, but he's also like Malzahar, where you can beat him early if you're better. Or not if you're better, but you can just beat him early if you play really well. Put a couple points in W. He can't like stand the harass. You get Vamp, you get Tiamat. You have a lot of burst. You can set up ganks really easily. You can burst them really easily. Like you can snowball the game out really easily against TF. You just have to once again ping whenever he's Mia and stuff, like the same way you would against Talon. But yeah, pretty free matchup. Tristana is like actually really cancer into Camille, because she just has a lot of harass. She has her ult, which forces, like, if you're against like I know Voyboy plays Tristana, like I even put it in D tier honestly, because of just how elusive Tristana is. She can ult you away when you E, and she can W when you E. So like even if you E and then flash, like E, she W's, flash ults, she ults you, and then she just kills you because you have no way onto her, and then she can just E you, get the reset of her W, just outpoke you in lane, just outscale you. Can't really set up for games because, like I said, she can just ult you away. So pretty AIDS champ. Veigar, double tenacity is like definitely an option against Veigar or QSS. I rank him with like TF, Malzahar. He's like, I think the better you are at Veigar, the lower he is on the tier list. I think he can possibly be C tier, D tier if they're like really good at Veigar. But if they're not good, then they should be A tier-ish. Like it just depends on the player you're against. So like I guess I'll put him in C tier because of that. Like because he's just like Anivia, where he just has so many ways to peel you off of him. Oh, if he cages properly. Like I'd never be able to solo kill Frog in Veigar. To put it that way. And I'm not just like sucking Froggen's dick. Like I just think I'm just like using Froggen as an example because I know Froggen plays Veigar, and he plays Anivia too, and he plays like a lot of the champs that counter me. So yeah, I think yeah, I don't know. He's not really touched, but I think Bjergsen has a few games of Veigar or something. I don't know. Vel'Koz is AIDS. He has a lot of poke. A very good Vel'Koz will keep his distance. If you try to E in, he'll just W himself. If you ult the W, then he'll barrier himself. His Q slows you. He just does so much damage. Vel'Koz does like an insane amount of damage for having no items. So he outranges you really hard, so you can't just put points to the W. You have to max Q. And then just like wait for ganks. Like that's all you can do is just wait for ganks. So I guess, you know, he's probably C tier because he'll just be able to harass you, and then maybe you get compensation with being able to roam and stuff. So he's like B tier, C tier. But like if they're really good at Vel'Koz, it's like really hard to lane against it. Vladimir is another champ that I dodge. He's like F tier because of how insane he is at scaling. Vladimir just E's whenever, or he just W's whenever you E. He hard outscales you, and you can never kill him if he's competent. The only thing I can say is that you can outroam him kind of, and honestly, I would put him in. I don't think he's F tier. I think he's D tier, C tier. I think he's in the middle like this because he doesn't have that much pressure in lane. Like he can't just like blow you out of lane. You can still farm with him, but the problem is he outscales you. So that's like, with that being said, you can just get Vamp Scepter. It's just like neutral. Like you guys can't, like, it's just gonna be a noodle fight. You guys will just like heal each other's damage. Like literally, you W him, he'll kill you. Then you auto the wave, and then you're full HP. He's full HP because he Qs. So like, it's not that hard in that sense to lane versus it, but he just outscales you. So I'd say he actually only has a slight edge because most of the time the game won't go late, and most of the time you'll be able to roam, whereas he can't. But then he makes up for it in his superior team fight. So I'd say it's still slightly losing for you. I still dodge it because of just how easy it is to get, like, in solo queue. If you can't get solo kills, it's like really hard to do anything if you don't have a easy time ganking other lanes. Victor, I put him in the same category as Orianna, and that if he's really good at the champion, he's gonna be able to kite you and like play around you, W himself as you go in. If he can space really well, tether really well, and harass you really well, if you're fucking done, you're gonna get, if you're against done, you're just getting shit on, like. So same thing with Ori. If he's bad at the champ, it's a free lane. You can snowball stomp him. If he's good at the champ, it's a very hard lane, and he'll just Anivia kite you and stuff and outscale you. Pretty gates. But you can set up ganks for him too, which is why I put him in C tier. He's not like Azir, where he can't just avoid ganks. You can still ult him and stuff, which is like the main reason why he's C tier. You can get Vamp Scepter, sustain for your jungler, wait for your jungler, and then just go in. Okay. Xerath is like the same thing as Vel'Koz. Xerath actually does a lot more damage than Vel'Koz, I think. A lot more consistent damage, because I think it's a lot easier to dodge Vel'Koz Q than Xerath Q. Xerath Q is so bullshit. I think Xerath's abilities are so bullshit. You should always be able to hit W on Xerath, I feel like. He can use his E to dodge Camille's E more consistently than Vel'Koz can, because at least against Vel'Koz you can actually ult the Vel'Koz W, to be fair, whereas Xerath you can't really do that. But you can flash E the same way you would against R and stuff, Syndra. So that you have that going for you. But I'd say that you're still going to run into issues against Xerath in terms of sustain, because even if you get a Vamp, some MR, like, he still has an insane amount of, obnoxious amount of sustain, or damage, I mean. You can still gank him pretty easily, but in a pure 1v1, it's pretty AIDS, he'll just outpoke you. You can outroam him, but I'd say I put him in the middle of C, upper of D, bottom of C tier, because he's slightly harder than Vel'Koz. But if he's dog shit as champ, then you just like hard destroy him, like same build as Orianna, Victor kind of thing. That leaves us with Yasuo. Yasuo's like, I've yet to fight. So I've played against Mo before. When he was doing his unranked to challenger, that's when I hit challenger, and I was playing top lane at the time. So I saw Mo like 6-7 times. Both him being on my team against me, but I never got to actually lane against his Yasuo, unfortunately. I think the matchup, so like, the way Yasuo works, right, is you have Mo, or at least this is for NA. This is for NA solo queue. This could be different in other regions, but you have Mo, and then you have every other Yasuo, and take that as I say it, because there could be some, insane Yasuo player that I don't really know about that I've yet to face. But that's just generally how it is. I've never seen a Yasuo as good as Mo. There's not ever been a Yasuo that I've ever been surprised by. Like, you watch Mo and you watch other Yasuos, and it's just like a whole another champion. So I'd say that I'm putting him in this tier. I'm putting my nuts on the line here. I'm saying it's a free matchup. I'm saying that you should slaughter Yasuo, because every Yasuo I've ever beat or I've ever faced, I've always destroyed them, always beat them, no problem, no matter the elo. It's super free. A lot of people have trouble with the matchup, and I don't know why. So basically, the way it works is level 1, you do nothing. Level 2, you do nothing. And level 3, you do everything. You have to make sure that he can't E your E, so you have to be always close to the wall and try to E when he's in animation of Q or animation of an auto attack. Or if he's like animation of E, you can put your E where he's going to be. Or you can lead with W to make the E a lot easier to hit. But the point is, you have to make sure that you don't waste your E. And then you just do a short trade until he's 50%, and then go back in and you kill him. And I think level 6, if you haven't killed him by level 6, you kill him level 6, because you just literally walk up to him in melee range, you W him, you ult him, you ignite auto Q, then you E onto the wall while he's in your ult. And then if there's minions around, like, you shouldn't have E'd. But if there are no minions around, then it's like a free E and you just kill him. He can win while you're E though, so you have to be careful about that, but I think the matchup is free. I have yet to face Mo. And when I do, I'm going to make a video on it, so you can quote me on that. So, because you just do so much more burst damage than him. We have Zed. So Zed you go press the attack against, but you're against Laceration, you're just getting shit on. Zed can, if the Zed player is good and he can hit all his abilities, he should be able to kill you with ease. So you have to get Vamp Scepter and just always stay high HP and just back off when you're low. Like, so something as Zed you can do is you can just E and then buffer your auto while your E is traveling, and then get a shield and then like get away. But you still have to be really, really careful about Zed. You beat him early but later on it's really hard, and like, yeah, like I said, really good Zed players are really good, and they'll just like shit on you really hard, and they could out roam you and stuff. So I put him like probably D tier. He's kind of like a Kylie in that he just has so many ways around your kit. He can ult when you E, he can W when you E. He has a lot of harass. He outranges the Kylie as well, so you have to worry about his long range. You just have to keep your HP up high. If you're low, you need to back off right away and just never die to him, because you don't want to let him snowball off of you. He's weak without items, so as long as you don't die to him, you're good. Wait, there's 2 Mordekaiser's. Yeah, there's like a Scuffed Mord and a Old Mord, so we'll just put him in the corner. Because I think there's only a few more champs. Ziggs is free. Big Fat LP plays Ziggs. I just shit on him recently. He's not the best metric, but champ is pretty much dog shit. No way out of I mean, he has W, I guess, for Camille, but I could see a really good Ziggs player being able to counter Camille because of the disengage through W. But even then, you can just like, as long as you can just quickly E before Ziggs can put down W, you should be able to kill him, because you can just ult when he puts down the satchel charge. So it should be free gank. So I'd say Ziggs would probably be C tier if the Ziggs player knows what they're doing. Borderline B tier. Zilean is another champ that I dodge because it's just like with Anivia. You can't ever, like, it's even worse than Anivia because he's Anivia's passive, but on any one of his champs. So Zilean is like the ultimate counter to assassins, because no matter what target you go on, he'll just ult it, and then you're kind of worthless because you'll just die for no reason. So Zilean I basically just dodge because you can't ever kill him. He just ults himself. His movement speed is insane. His poke is insane. His slow is basically a stun. So like you just have to dodge him basically, unless you are confident in your jungler to be ganking him. That's like the only time I'd ever play it out. If I had Elise or something, then maybe I could see playing Zilean, because Elise has a lot of stall for when he ults himself and stuff. Like, I don't know. It's just like I can ult Zilean and then get him low, and then he ults himself, and then Elise stuns, and then we can chase after him. I guess that makes sense. But so if you don't have an aggressive jungler like Elise and Elise, and if you do but you don't trust them, you should just dodge Zilean. And I'm putting him lower than these champs because he can ult and like win team fights. So you just have to perma-split against Zilean basically. So if you can't perma-split, if you don't have good matchups in your teammates, if you don't have a jungler you can trust, I just dodge. You have Teemo. For fucking Nubrak supporters, Teemo's actually a counter into Camille, believe it or not. His shrooms and his ability to kite makes them a pretty good counter, pretty good lane bullying to him, into Camille. But he's easy to gank, obviously, and you can roam her, so he's a C tier. Sure. So last but not last but not least, we still have like 2 more champs. So Zoe is the aspect of Cancer. She is like God tier into Camille because she just does so much damage, man. It's like insane. It's really hard to gank her because she just steals sums. You can't flash on her because she'll steal your flash. I guess it's not like really hard to gank her. Like I said, if you have an aggressive jungler, maybe I'd play it out. But if you don't, then you shouldn't play. Like, you just need to dodge it. It's just like so fucking Cancer to fight Zoe. She does so much burst. She has her CC to stop you when you E in. I just dodge it. Like, she literally can miss her E, hit her Q, it's like half your health. If you try to W her, she'll ult. Or like, you know, you hit your W so much, she'll just auto Q you. You can ult her when she ults like into you, which is kind of funny. Like if she's here, she ults, you can ult, and then it will follow her back to her portal. But yeah, she just E's you and stuff, and you'd have to take Cleanse against Zoe if you really wanted to play out the matchup. Cleanse would be the best, because it does more damage than Ignite if you can get out of the CC and then ult her right away, if that makes sense. Like, and also her main burst comes out of her E amplifier, and it could potentially get you killed later on, because she can literally 2-hit you with, if she hits a Q and then hits E. Like, this is the Cancer thing about Zoe, which is why I think she's S tier. Like, if she E's, if she Q's, ults, hits the Q, E's, Q's again, Q's you, you're dead. She just has to hit 2 skill shots on you and you die. So Pretty broken champ. I don't know why this is not nerfed. Kiana is like kind of like a Zed, where if they know what they're doing, then they beat you. And I think you actually beat her like level 1, level 2, level 3. You probably still beat her because you have her low enough from, you know, the early on trades. You set up the wave the way you wanted it to, so you have that compensation. So, but it's just like Zed, where she can just harass you down with the longer range. She can roam. She can just out roam you. She has an insane team fight, right? Like a really good Kiana will just beat you. So I consider dodging Kiana. Well, that's only if she's really good. Most Kianas are ass the game. I've yet to meet a really good Kiana, so I don't really dodge Kianas because I'm not really afraid of them. Zyra is our last champ. Wow, we finally made it to the end. 2-hour recording. Longer than I thought. I wanted to be as thorough as possible. So Zyra's like Brand and Annie, where she just has a lot of burst. As long as you can avoid that, it's like a free kill. You just put a few points in W, hit her with W, E in, auto QQ. She'll hit the plants on you. If she roots you before you use E, you can use E out of the root. You should just be able to win though, because she's just super squishy. She's like Karthus Brand, super squishy, high damage mages, but you just deal more burst than they do to you. So, but yeah, that's about it for the mid laners. So let me know if I was not specific enough on certain champs. Like I said, I tried to be as thorough as possible, talking for 2 hours straight. So maybe I don't think I missed a single champ. But yeah, I'll be making more in-depth videos on certain champs if I feel the need to, or if I see a game that I play that I feel like would help, like the Kassadin game. But yeah, I think that about covers it. So thank you for watching.